And g'day, battlers, and we are officially live for the Australis Shield Championship. If you are unfamiliar with the Australis Shield format that has been going on over the past 8 months, essentially this has been the best of the best in Australia fighting it out every month for a chance to get their names engraved on that shield right there, that famous shield, the Australis Shield that Bamboss has been hosting month after month. Now, essentially the format is that the best performing battlers in each given month in the sort of Silver Arena tournaments that were being hosted in the Arena Australis server were given the opportunity to participate in an upcoming tournament featuring the meta that was going to be used in the next Silph tournament. So, for example, the people who performed well in the October 2021 Silph Arena meta were then put into a Brawler Cup, which was the meta for the November 2021 Silver Arena Cup. And that's been going on month after month after month. And we've been racking up winners. We've been racking up runners up. And now it is time for the Ultimate Championship to decide who is the best battler in the country. And essentially, this has been an invite list that's composed of not only the winners that we have right here, who have won the Australis Shield on 1 month or multiple, as we do have a couple of 2-time winners, but also some runners-up. And then the rest of the invitation list has been filled up by people based on their performance on the Arena Australis leaderboard, which is based on tournaments that have been completed throughout the Silph Arena Season 4 as we've gone on through. We got it. So we're going to take a look at the bracket because essentially we have 12 battlers today and we're going to be fighting out in a double elimination format in... because we don't have a Silph Arena meta for the next monthly cup, this time we're going to be fighting it out in the Continentals meta. So if we take a little bit of a look at that, which was a pretty unique meta. So essentially it didn't have like a list of Pokemon you could use, a list of Pokemon you couldn't use. Instead, it was this format where you had to build a team of 8 Pokemon with no repeating types and only 2 monotypes on your team of 8. So for example, you can bring Umbreon, and that's one of your 2 monotype slots, and then you can't have another dark type on the rest of your team of 8. And then going into battle, your team of 8 versus another team of 8, and you each get to ban 2 of the Pokemon from the opposing side, and then you go ahead with the remaining teams of 6 for a classic best of 3 format. There are actually some bans here, like the Regis, Pachirisu, Granbull, the Galarian Birds, and some of the Ultra Beasts, and some other stuff as well, like the Hisuian Arcanine, because this meta was sort of built very much close to when that meta was being released, when Hisuian Arcanine was released. So it was sort of a little bit more timely, is I guess what I was trying to say there. But essentially, this is going to mean that we're going to have quite a variety of teams. And as someone who has been able to see the teams in advance, there are definitely some very spicy Pokemon running around that I'm hoping perform quite well. Now, because we have 12 people in a double elimination format, it doesn't quite math out so that everyone is going to be battling in round 1. So what we're essentially going to have is... I'll bring the bracket up on screen, is the top 4 players, which are going to be Rick Flareon, Triple Crit, Stumpy 2517, and Dr. Trotter, are going to get a bye in this very first round, and we're going to see the rest of the battlers, Dennis, Dankbrode, Jim 2504, DJ Power, Not Ready Newman, Achilles Hero, Murkrow Asylum, and Mikey Morgs, all fighting it out. Now, obviously, you can tell these teams are not the teams they've actually decided to run with. Dankbrode has not actually run a 1CP Ditto. These were just fill-in teams, as we can't fill in the teams of 8 on the Silph Arena website. But regardless, we will get those teams up pretty shortly regardless. Now, we're actually going to be jumping straight into the Dennis versus Mikey Morgs matchup. So I'm going to bring us over here so we can take a look at the teams. Now, we do have 2 of the bans. I just need to check... do we have the replacement bands? We do not have the replacement bands by the look of it. Okay, so essentially the teams of 8 that we can see here, Dennis has brought in Lantern, Trevenant, Ninetales, and Alola Ninetales, Umbreon, Medicham, Altaria, and Galarian Stunfisk. And then Mikey Morgs has banned Vigoroth, Mikey Morgs has brought in the Vigoroth, Trevenant, Shadow Swampert, Alola Ninetales, Umbreon, Altaria, Toxicroak, and the Bastiodon. Now, again, this is a bring 8 ban 2 format, so Mikey Morgs has gone ahead and banned Trevenant and Alola Ninetales. Now, bans are supposed to happen at the same time, so no one sort of has the information about what they're banning in advance, but Dennis accidentally made a mistake and was banning Pokemon from a different player's team, so we'll just be making their decisions now. Okay, Mikey Morgs, Dennis has gone ahead and banned Ninetales and Bastiodon. So we can put those up on the screen now. So Ninetales and Bastiodon will not be in. So both Alola Ninetales have been banned. And then the Bastiodon has been banned from Mikey Morgs, which is sort of an interesting spot. Because I think that Bastiodon definitely has a really a solid amount of play up against Dennis's team. The Ninetales, both Ninetales, in fact. The Altaria doesn't do so great up against the Galarian Stunfisk, but I suppose what can you do when, I guess you've still got access to Flamethrower. Now, one thing that is sort of a little bit different about the Australis Shield is that you are able to adjust movesets before you battle. So once the battle starts, there's no TMs, but you can use TMs up to the very first battle starting. So now that we've seen the bans, we can sort of see, okay, I think that my Metacham is going to really need Ice Punch to deal with the Altaria and the Trevenant here, because I'm sort of lacking some other really strong answers. You can then sort of make that decision, put Ice Punch and Psychic on that Metacham, which, to be honest, I don't see much of a reason to be putting Power Up Punch or Dynamic Punch on a Metacham. The only things that you're really hitting are that Umbreon and the Vigoroth. Vigoroth, you're probably going to do pretty well in that matchup regardless. Umbreon, you would actually gain an advantage by having one of those fighting moves in there, the Power Up Punch, probably the Power Up Punch especially, just because you then also get to boost yourself as you go forward into other matchups as well. So I think that we're probably going to, I'm predicting this on Ice Punch Psychic. But there is, of course, the chance that we end up seeing a fighting move come in, trying to counter that Umbreon. But I think that now leaves Dennis a little bit too scared. Get this on the screen ASAP and then clean it up as we go. Now, not sure where we are up to in the battle here, but that Umbreon is up against that Toxicroak. Does not have Psychic, so Toxicroak doesn't have to worry about that much. In comparison to the sort of usual scenarios. But regardless, Last Resort is still going to do a little bit of damage here. Brings down the Toxicroak to about half health, and then you can see we've got the Metacham and a half health Altaria in the back. This is definitely a bit of a rough spot for Dennis to be in. Brings in the Metacham and is definitely going to be able to tank whatever moves these are, but Metacham doesn't really have like a quick way to deal with this Toxicroak. The counters are not doing much damage. Does shield up the Sludge Bomb, but now is going to have to get to an Ice Punch to take this Toxicroak out. And Toxicroak is going to have an opportunity to get a Mud Bomb off here. Potentially a Mud Bomb. Obviously, we didn't see this full matchup. Maybe Toxicroak has a lot of energy. Is actually able to get a Sludge Bomb off, which definitely hurts the Metacham. But unfortunately for Dennis, did it go for the CMP tie. Would have been really nice for him to have the opportunity to sort of farm a little bit more energy on the Toxicroak, but regardless, taking that Toxie out, and we'll see what he does end up having in the back on Mikey Morgs' side. Dun 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 dun. Not sure where we are in the battle, but we are seeing the Trevenant come in. This is not where it wants to be with that Metacham, so it brings in the Altaria. Altaria definitely in a much better spot up against the Trevenant, and throwing this Sky Attack with some energy from earlier. Clearly, a little bit of a freeze on the phone screen here, but we're coming back. And, we actually saw a swap into Altaria to catch the Sky Attack, able to Dragon Breath down, and now it is just going to be that Trevenant. Trevenant is going to have to look in the face of this Sky Attack. There is one shield left on Mikey Morgs' side, so Mikey Morgs very well may decide to burn the shield here. I think it may be for the best. Burns that last shield, and Trevenant is now going to be able to farm up a lot of energy on this Altaria. Look at her health, barely not able to get the Sky Attack off, and now here comes the Metacham into a loaded Trevenant. Does have a shield, is going to be able to survive this one move, but Trevenant has got so much energy that another Shadow Ball is probably not too far off. I mean, potentially even just Seed Bomb plus the Shadow Claws is probably enough to take this Metacham out, and really nice counting from Mikey Morgs' side to throw the move at then right before the Ice Punch sort of comes through as well. So Mikey Morgs does end up taking out the first game there. You've got the invite coming through, and we are going to be jumping into game 2 of round 1 very shortly here. Again, this is a best of 3. Mikey Morgs is up 1-0, and it is a double elimination tournament. Now we actually have the Umbreon mirror match. We saw one Umbreon earlier that did not have Psychic, and it looks like both battlers here are running that same moveset of Foul Play and Last Resort. So, or potentially Dark Pulse. Actually, it looks like we're getting a little bit of a lag from Mikey Morgs' screen. Hopefully that is only on like our perspective and he isn't having that lag, but we will see how the game sort of progresses. We see Dennis going straight for this Last Resort to try and get that big neutral damage onto that other Umbreon, and I have a feeling that we might be here for a while. Now, if we look at the back lines, we can actually see that both battlers, as well as both bringing in the neutral Umbreon, have brought in the neutral Altaria, and then in the back, it sort of makes it seem like it might be in Mikey Morgs' favor, as they've brought the Trevenant against Dennis's Metacham, which is definitely not what Dennis wants to see here. Definitely was hoping to be able to land this Umbreon onto the Trevenant, but has to think a little bit about how much Dennis wants to rely on keeping this Umbreon in this matchup. Obviously, when you are dealing with matchups that can be so hard countery, like a Trevenant and a Metacham scenario, you don't want to give up switch advantage, because that gives your opponent the opportunity to sort of put the pieces where they want them, so that they're going to be able to get that really key Pokemon up against that Pokemon that you do not want to see. So Dennis really has to consider how he wants to play this out. I think it is just vital for him to win switch advantage out of this matchup, or at the very least make a swap out and win switch based on that matchup. But regardless, potentially it could be a case where IV sort of come in anyway. Looks like we did get that catch up. It looked like Mikey Morgs was just behind, but that was just because of a charge move scenario. Did get that last snarl in to bring him up to a last resort. And it looks like Dennis is so close, and we see a swap out into Altaria, keeping Umbreon alive, hopefully to be able to get a foul play on that Trevenant a little later on, and catching this energy from the Umbreon before a Dragon breathing down the Umbreon. Mikey Morgs has not been switch locked here, so does bring in the Altaria. Again, doesn't really have a hard counter for this Altaria now that Alola Ninetales and Bastiodon have been banned. So just has to come in, bear the brunt of all of these Dragon Breaths that are coming through. The Sky Attack is going to get shielded by Mikey Morgs here. You can definitely see that there's a lot of health being lost though, and there is still that Trevenant just waiting in the wings with 2 shields. Mikey Morgs has not burned a shield yet. Farm up a lot of energy and able to KO Dennis's Altaria with all of the energy still packed. And this is even worse for Dennis, because this Sky Attack is going to do big damage to Metacham, but it would also KO the Umbreon. So Dennis decides that the Umbreon is key to try and take down the Trevenant that is likely in the back. So brings in the Metacham, burns a shield on this Sky Attack, and is now going to try and get a little bit of energy as we take this Altaria down. Now, this is actually also good for Dennis, because it means that by getting this energy on the Metacham, he's going to be able to farm up to some energy to get Ice Punch onto Trevenant. So also put some pressure on in that sense. Mikey Morgs does still have 1 shield though. Metacham going for the full counter down, and unfortunately we are not quite going to get there. Altaria is, with the 1 HP and a dream, able to get this Sky Attack off. That is definitely going to hurt this Metacham, but not KO. We get into the Trevenant swap. Here comes the Ice Punch. This is going to hurt the Trevenant, but decides to keep that shield for later on. It knows that a foul play could be right around the corner, which is going to hurt even more than an Ice Punch. We see the swap into the Umbreon, trying to get to a foul play before Trevenant can get to a Seed Bomb, but here is the Seed Bomb, and this Umbreon is going to go down, which is very unfortunate for Dennis, and it does mean that this Metacham is going to have to come back out to the Trevenant. No energy on it, and Metacham, unfortunately, Metacham did just sort of lose out in the end there. So that does mean that Mikey Morgs has taken out the first round up against Dennis. I can't imagine that, I don't think we're going to be going into the third battle, because this is sort of that double elimination format. We obviously had a little bit of a delay getting into the tournament, so we can retake a look at the bracket to see what other matchups have perspired. Is that how you use that word? Perspired? Have precipitated? Have happened? I'm not too sure. So we can hop back over to the bracket. So definitely GG's to Mikey Morgs, and Dennis is definitely still in the tournament. So no sweat. He can still lose 1 more time in this tournament. It looks like we actually have no results yet coming through here, but we can take a look at some of the other teams here. Actually, okay, we're going to have to do something a little bit funky, and I hope you'll bear with me. But what we can do here is we can go back to this screen. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take some of these off the screen. So, get rid of the bands, get rid of this, get rid of all this, get rid of this, get rid of this. And now what we're going to be able to do is we're going to sort of be able to look sort of one by one at some of the teams here. So we can take a look at, for example, Achilles Hero. Why can I not see it? There it is. Okay. Achilles Hero. And boop. So this is Achilles Hero's team, who has brought in the Double Wall, brand new with the Sylph Arena with the new Go Battle League season, bringing in that low kick that is definitely making it an incredibly viable Pokemon. It's sort of like, it's so, I don't register as a fighter, but it kind of is a fighter. It's pretty similar to like Vigoroth in that sense, that it is like a normal type with a fighting fast move, with low kick, with some pretty big charge moves as well. It does have access to wild charge as a potential nuke that could be really interesting. Definitely a much better nuke than something like Vigoroth has with Bulldoze. No one likes Bulldoze. Bulldoze is an atrocious move. No one wants to see that. So it sort of makes it a little bit interesting. And then we've also got the Trevenant coming in again. Defense Deoxys, which again, in these formats where you can sort of TM Pokemon before a round starts, it makes it a little bit more sort of viable. Like you can run Rock Slide, Psycho Boost in one round, and then the next round they might have, I was going to say 3 water types. But again, we are in the Continentals meta, and you can only use a single typing once. So we'll not have 3 water types. Maybe they've got a water type and a flying type, and actually, that's kind of all that electric type scares. But maybe there's also just something else that it does big neutral damage to. And it sort of makes you think maybe the next one is a little bit more weak to Psycho Boost. Maybe they've brought in the Venusaur. Maybe they've brought in the Toxicroak, and a Psycho Boost could absolutely annihilate. Then you're almost certainly going to bring that Psycho Boost in. And then also running that Alola Ninetales, the Scrafty as another sort of different fighter, taking up that dark type slot that people have been really fond of bringing in the Umbreon, and then also bringing in the Lantern, the Altaria, and the Galarian Stunfisk as well. Now I'll refresh the bracket just because, okay, we actually have our first result, and it's actually Achilles Hero. Achilles Hero was able to take out Jim at 2504. Because we can't bring up the teams on the Sylph bracket, instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the teams just on screen here so we can sort of see, sort of talk about it in that regard, I suppose. So boom, boom, boom. And there's Jim's team. Now, Achilles Hero, who was able to take out Jim in the first round with a 2-1. So it definitely came a little bit close. And we can see that they've actually brought in the Shadow Venusaur, which is definitely a really spicy Pokemon. Actually has brought in 2 Shadow starters. Brought in the Shadow Swampert and the Shadow Venusaur, which Altaria definitely would do quite nicely against. Now, I'm not sure what the bans ended up being because I don't have the... Obviously, we're doing a little bit patchwork here, so I'm going to have to like open up the Discord to see what the bans are. Okay, so Jim banned Alola Ninetales and Trevenant from Achilles Hero, and Achilles Hero banned Altaria and Swampert from Jim 2504, and it definitely makes sense banning that Altaria, especially when so many bans are going around on this Alola Ninetales. I think that for those of you who sort of watched the Play Pokemon tournament stream, the first one of the Go Battle League season, of the Play Pokemon season, Altaria was a serious force to be reckoned with, and to sort of come back to the meta, the theory suggests that it's because Walreign's been nerfed, so Altaria has a little bit more play. I still feel like Walrein is a really strong Pokemon. When Great League was still in rotation in Go Battle League, I was running Shadow Walrein because it still does really well. You get to the first Icicle Spear just as fast. The real sort of downside is that you can't get to, you can't stock up an Earthquake and an Icicle Spear at the same time, which can be really valuable in situations where you sort of need a beta move and then get another one straight off. But it's still a really strong Pokemon, but we have definitely seen a pretty big pickup in Altaria. And I think when you are limited to only bringing in 1 water type, only limited to bring in 1 ice type, Walrein is a bit of it takes up 2 valuable typings. I mean, we can see that Achilles Hero has been able to bring in the Lantern, which is definitely another sort of newer face to the Go Battle League meta. Sort of, I guess, a revised face, because we definitely saw a lot of Lantern back in the early days of PvP. But then it was a few buffs away from being like a solid meta staple. Now, Lantern is definitely in the meta for sure and is a really strong pick. A lot of bulk, a lot of spam, can do a lot of damage. And that sort of then lets you use your Ice type on Alola Ninetales, which also lets you use that Fairy typing, gets access to Charm. And if you're up against this team that's just like, a wall to Charm that you don't want to use Charm against, you don't have to. Powder Snow Weather Ball is right there. Just so spammy. Still able to get that Ice type spam that the Icicle Spear Powder Snow combo does sort of pick up from the Walrein. So definitely it's still a very strong Pokemon in that regard as well. Wait, a Play Pokemon caster? Wait, congrats on Play Pokemon Feb announcement. Wait, what? Has something happened? I'm confused here. Do you guys know something that I don't? Because I feel like I would have had to accept something. I'm going to assume that this is not real. So we shall continue with the casting. Okay. All right. Unless. No, not unless. Okay, I will refresh the bracket though. We'll go back to. Oops, I was about to put Twitter up on the screen. Boop, boop, boop. Refresh. And cut. Okay, we don't have results yet. Okay, so I guess Dennis and Mikey Moore. I guess because it is the Sylph platform, it is still worth running. Running for the battles, of course, you get the. Wait, check emails. He says. Wait, is this real? I'm confused. Okay, hang on. Well, I'm gonna checking emails live on stream. Let's just make sure that we aren't sharing. Okay. How do you know something that I don't? That's my question. I don't know. This seems suspicious. Da, 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 da. I mean, we could do email check live on stream. Da, da, da. That's not a play Pokemon. Incoming, I should say. Wait. I'm so confused. Am I being... You say you bamboozling? I feel like I'm being bamboozled. He's bamboozling. Such a troll that you say, guy. Just because I didn't stream my factions match to the factions chat the other day. And I didn't win. Well, I won one. I went 1-2. Yeah, okay. What I'm going to... yeah, he's messing. He's definitely messing. We hate you. You say is banned from this chat. For sure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download the team graphics that Bamboss sent because that might be a little bit easier. Or actually, I can just share it straight from Discord. Boop, cut. Okay, we can see the teams in this sort of janky format. So we can see Achilles Hero here has brought in the Trevenant, the Double, the Altaria, Alola Ninetales, Lantern, Galarian Stunfisk, Scrafty, and Defense Deoxys. Rick Flareon has also brought in the Altaria, the Vigoroth, Defense Deoxys, Galarian Stunfisk, Shadow Beedrill, Trevenant, Alola Ninetales, and Lantern. So straight away, we're seeing a lot of Altaria in this meta. This is definitely not the first Vigoroth we've seen either. Both of these players have brought in Galarian Stunfisk and Alola Ninetales and Lantern and Defense Deoxys. And that is sort of how this, I guess how the meta is a little bit, because you can only bring in one Pokemon of each typing. You sort of get locked into, so for example, if you bring in Defense Deoxys as your sort of Psychic type, you then sort of become a little bit weak to Umbreon, for example. Umbreon can do a lot of damage to you with the foul plays. So then you might decide, okay, I need a counter to Umbreon, which you're probably going to use your Fairy typing on that. And you go, okay, I can use Ice Fairy and I can bring in all the Ninetales. And then you go, okay, now I've got a Poison type, a little bit of a weakness to Nidoqueen if someone sort of brings that in. So what can I sort of bring to counter that in? Some sort of Water type would be good. Lantern with its freshly buffed moveset would definitely be incredibly strong there. And that it sort of goes around in that format. So you sort of end up, like, I'll put it this way. A lot of these teams are very different from one another. But when a team is similar to someone else, it is similar to someone else, just based on the sort of team building. You glad this isn't your audition tape? Yes, I have bamboozled. That is the official term. Yeah. I've been pranked. I'm never trusting you say again. Never. You know, the thing that really pranked me was that Joel came in with the second message at the same time. And so I was like, wait, what? Is there actually something? But no, that makes no sense. You guys suck. Okay, but DJ Power and Mikey Morgs as the next two teams here. Obviously, we just saw Mikey Morgs battle away with that double counter user team, with that Shadow Swampert as well. Actually, did he have Shadow Swampert? We didn't see Shadow Swampert. Did I do an oopsie? Did I not have Mikey Morgs with a... Oh, yeah, Shadow Swampert was there the whole time. I just completely... Oopsies, my bad. Well, turns out that it was there the whole time. Yeah, it's on the internet. It must be true. 6-4! How's it going, my friend? We are just running in with an Australis Shield Championship. Running in to find out who is the best of the best in the entire country after the last 8 months of Australis Shield tournaments to determine who can get their name on the Shield. Now, we've got some more teams here. We're actually running with the Continentals meta as well. So I've also got Sableye making its first appearance here on DJ Power's team, alongside that other monotype being that shiny Vigoroth, has decided to bring in 3 counter users from DJ Power. DJ Power not messing around with the counter users. I would not expect anyone with a Bastiodon or a Galarian Stunfisk to expect that Pokemon to be banned, because DJ Power is comfortable. I guess that's sort of another strategy you can go for when you're in these sort of spots. If you bring 3 Pokemon that cover a single role, and your opponent can only ban 2 of them, it guarantees that you have at least 1 Pokemon that fills that role going into the battle. And that can really sort of, it can really be a sort of interesting way to go about it. It sort of forces things to go in a particular direction. It can make it so that, for example, say Mikey Morgs was the one that was facing DJ Power here, has the Bastiodon obviously right here. Mikey Morgs is going to be really scared to bring that Bastiodon, and also knows that it is not going to be banned. You can sort of try and play a different way around it and go, okay, I think that DJ Power is going to try and protect his counter users a little bit, might try and ban the Alola Ninetales and the Trevenant, let's say. And then, okay, so if he's going to ban those 2, what am I worried about at that point? Well, at that point, I mean, Sableye, I still have an Umbreon for, but Umbreon can still take a fair bit of damage from a return from Sableye, so maybe it's still a little bit scary in that regard. Maybe I kind of want to ban that Sableye just because it is quite strong otherwise. I mean, I've got 2 counter users myself on Mikey Morgs' team, so maybe, Sableye doesn't care too much about counter. It does have the Dark type as well as the Ghost type, so it does do okay there. But, it's sort of another interesting sort of way to go about it. If we then go to the next set of teams, we've got Stumpy, 25-17, and Dank Broad. And these are, Stumpy has definitely brought an interesting team. I think Stumpy has the most unique Pokemon in this tournament format. So Stumpy has brought in Tapu Fini as the Water Fairy type. Man, I love Tapu Fini. We've also got the Incinerate, potentially, Macargo coming in to the front. I mean, have we even seen any other fire types? Did any of these other ones have fire? There's no fire here. Is there any fire on Dank's team? No. Any fire on here? Oh, we actually do have one Talonflame on Dr. Trotter's team. We've got another Talonflame here on Murkow's team. So we've only got 3 Pokemon in the entire tournament that have the fire typing. And it is sort of a case when you build a team of 8, you can only bring 2 monotypes, you have to bring 6 dual types, and you can't repeat the typing. I think there are 2 typings that you have to leave at home. And so for most people, one of those typings was fire. But Stumpy has decided that this is going to be worth it. And it's actually even more interesting. Wait a minute. Does that make sense? Isn't Macargo fire? Oh my gosh. I'm such a fool. I was like, wait a minute. Macargo has rock typing, but Galarian Stunfisk, doesn't it have rock typing? No, guys, it does not. It is ground steel. But yeah, Stumpy really going with an interesting one here. Did I forget to tweet that I'm live? Well, forget and didn't do. Forget is such an accusation. So accusatory, Joel. Why would I forget to do something like that? But played in a Band 2 league, and the guy with 3 counter users and 3 ice types was a pain to play against. No, exactly right, 6-4. And this was sort of similar when we did the Sylph Arena Factions post-season, which was also run in the Bring 8 Band 2 format. I remember one battle in particular, I think it was the final battle of the sort of tournament there. I brought in 4 counter users and 4 charm users. And so it was pretty clear how that battle was going to be going. And I think that I ended up winning that 2-1, although that was because my opponent also acknowledged the spice and went for a team of 8 water types. So it was a lot of fun though. I don't think we're seeing any of that here, especially, again, because we do have to have unique typings. But regardless, Stumpy is also actually back to the teams on the screen. We've also brought in the Cresselia, which is also another Pokemon that hasn't appeared on anyone else's team. But then on the other side, we've got Dank's team, who has brought in the Azumarill, which it's so weird that Azumarill has almost become like a bit of a spice pick in this Continentals format, because there's so many other ways that you want to use your Water Fairy typings. Alolan Ninetales is so valuable. Everyone loves it. Obviously, Stumpy here, has also brought in a Water Fairy type of his own. But still, Azumarill is not one that you're seeing a lot of, and actually provides a lot of versatility because, again, as you can change your movesets before you go into each round, you can sort of make those decisions. Is Hydro Pump good here? How about Play Rough? Maybe Ice Beam. Maybe they've got Trevenant and Altaria, and I really want that Ice Beam coverage to be able to take on the Trevenant. It might be exactly what you need in that scenario. And Dank Broad is actually also finally brought in the Shadow Nidoqueen. Not a Pokemon that we've seen yet, and I think this is actually sort of a little bit of a decision point here. So Dank Broad has brought in the Basidon, which does have the rock typing. It's steel rock. Whereas Stumpy has brought in the G-Fisk with the steel ground. Not rock, as some Australians may decide to tell you. So it sort of opens up these sort of other slots a little bit. So you can be like, okay, because I've brought Basidon, I actually have room for another ground type. So I can actually afford to bring in Nidoqueen, for example. Whereas Stumpy, because he's decided to bring in the G-Fisk, doesn't have that room and can bring a rock type instead, like Macargo. That I know everyone is deciding to sort of bring in like that. But then I guess you've also got a little bit of a question there of Galarian Stunfisk then beats up the rock types. Nidoqueen doesn't do as well up against these sort of opposing sides. So obviously Nidoqueen versus Galarian Stunfisk, it's not like a sure thing either way, but Galarian Stunfisk Earthquake hurts a lot, and the Earth Power is a little bit of a, I guess it's a bait game. It's a bait situation. Are you going to land the Earthquake? Are you going to land the Earth Power? Are you going to go for a Poison Fang debuff? Is that what your opponent's going to think? Etc, etc, etc. Now, next up, we have Dr. Trotter and Triple Crits team. I only just realized that there was an arrow on the right-hand side of the screen that I could click to just, go between these images. Very useful feature, by the way, especially when you're doing something just like this. Now, Dr. Trotter has also brought in one spicy mon here, and that is Ariados. Ariados is coming in with access to Lunge, Cross Poison, Mega Horn, and so many other moves that you can, again, really just go through that TM roulette and decide exactly what you want to bring after your opponents have banned your teams. And then, other than that, has brought in quite a sort of staple line with the Medicham, Shadow Swampert, the Talonflame, which I know I said staple, but only 2 people have brought Talonflame. So I guess, I don't know, what level is something like Spice? Like, 2 people out of 12 isn't a lot, but it is Talonflame. And Talonflame, obviously, for those Australians in the audience, Talonflame was a big hitter in that Play Pokemon Melbourne finals for sure. Between Rick Valerion and Valiant Vish. Definitely that and Surfetch were quite powerful in those metas there. And then we have the Lickitung, the Umbreon, the Trevenant, and the Basidon coming in. With Triple Crit bringing in the Shadow Drapion. Also a very spicy pick here, and one that I do like seeing. I was going to say not the best up against Dr. Trotter's team potentially, but again, these are just like randomly grouped together. The fact that these two are on the same image means nothing. This is just a grouping of teams. Maybe they face each other one day. Maybe they don't. We'll just have to wait and see as the bracket unfolds. We've also got Basidon, the Shadow Swampert, Altaria, Alolan Ninetales, Lucky Alolan Ninetales, which surely means it's better. I've got the Medicham, the Trevenant, and also the best buddy Lickitung there hanging out. Lickitung, probably also one of the most used Pokemon in this format because I guess it does use one of your 2 monotype slots, but it is really bulky, really powerful, and can do a lot of hurt to pretty much everything. There's not much in this meta. Not much in Pokemon Go that walls a Lickitung. We'll put it that way. Now, I'm not sure if these are the last 2. Nope, there's still 2 more after this. Okay, we've got Murkrow's team, who's brought in the Frostlass, which I love, bringing in the Ice and the Ghost typing. Frostlass, an ever-powerful Pokemon in the Sylph arena. Definitely an absolute sweetheart for many people, such as Torstel, for example. I've got the Talonflame, second user here. Also got the Venusaur, the Medicham best buddy, Galarian Stunfisk, Azumarill coming back, Umbreon, and the Dubwool coming in with that low kick action. I'm really like, if there's one thing I want to see on stream today, it is some Dubwool action, because that's I just love it so much. It's just such a goofy little Pokemon that can do so much hurt. If it lands a Wild Charge on something, it can absolutely wreck. And I do think that Wild Charge is probably the move, the sort of nuke move we're going to see a little bit more than Payback, which it also has access to. I think that Payback is the PV Poke recommended moveset. Or maybe that's changed since I last looked at it, because Wild Charge definitely has a lot of utility, but you do have to be willing to play those games of debuffing yourself. It sort of makes people think, okay, maybe he's going to run it in the lead so that he can throw the Wild Charge and dip. Definitely a very common strategy. But, it's still a really fun Pokemon, and I look forward to it. Now, we've got Jim's team here, a Newcastle local. Definitely no bias coming from me, but woo, go Jim. We've got the Umbreon, the Medicham, the Lickitung, the Altaria, a Scavalier actually coming in, which is a really interesting pick I want to get back to. And then the Alolan Ninetales, and then the double Shadow starters with the Venusaur and the Swampert, as we saw before. Escavalier is such an interesting decision. So you're essentially burning your Steel type instead of bringing in some sort of like anti-flyer role. So not bringing in Basidon, not bringing in a Galarian Stunfisk, bringing in a Scavalier, who generally loses to the Flyers. But that is the beauty of the Bring 8 Ban 2 format. You can ban the Flyers. You can get that Talonflame out of there. You can get that Frostlass out of there. You can make your Scavalier nice and safe. You can try and put it in a spot where it can do a lot of damage, because actually, just like looking at Murkrow's team, obviously Jim and Murkrow are not currently facing off, but once you ban the Talonflame, you're in a really good spot overall in general. Like maybe you also ban the Azumarill, because you've got access to Megahorn that you could throw at the Medicham and the Umbreon and the Venusaur. You've got that Drill Run you can hit the Galarian Stunfisk with. You've got counter for the double. A Scavalier could be a really powerful Pokemon depending on the sort of team that you are facing up against. Then in this last image here, I think it's last. Wait a minute. There's more? Or is it cycling? I think it's cycling. It is cycling. Okay, one last image. We've got Not Rennie Newman here with the Mandibuzz, which has not been seen outside of this. And again, I think that's because we're seeing a lot of people bring in the Umbreon, which does use up a monotype slot, but it keeps your flying slot available for something like Altaria, which has Altaria been on like every team? Altaria, the Talonflame users decided to not bring Altaria. But we've also got the Trevenant, the Shiny Lickitung, Shadow Walrein, my pride and joy. We've got the Shadow Nidoqueen as well right next to it. Here is the Sirfetch'd, again, a high performer from the Melbourne Play Pokemon Tournament. We'll see if it can repeat those big wonders here. And then we've got the Shadow Mawile, the Galvantula as well. Galvantula and Shadow Mawile. Not Rennie Newman. I know I actually said earlier that Stumpy might win the award for Spiciest Team, but Not Rennie Newman deserves some serious credit for bringing in a lot of Pokemon that no one else in this tournament has decided to bring. No one's had the guts, the cojones to bring into this tournament. So Not Rennie Newman deserves a lot of respect in that regard as well. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, we have Dennis, who we just watched play in that very first round with the double Ninetales, the Lantern, the Umbreon, Medicham, Altaria, Galarian Stunfisk, and the Trevenant as well. Now, I'm just going to check on where we're up to in... I'll scroll. Look at all these images, guys. Images. Okay, that might mean that we have a bracket, potentially. I'm going to hit the refresh button. Okay, we've seen a few more results come through here. So we've got Mikey Morgs taking out Dennis with the 3-0. So was able to clinch that last battle after we tuned out there. We've got Achilles Hero, as we saw before, take out Jim at 25-04 with the 2-1. And Dank Brode taking out Murkrow Asylum with the 3-0. Now again, this is a double elimination format. So losing once does not mean you are out of the tournament. You can lose twice and then you'll be out of the tournament. So they're still in it to win it. We're going to see a sort of elimination bracket folding ahead as we sort of follow along the winners bracket. Okay, we have our results. DJ Power able to take out Not Rennie Newman with a 2-1. So in the secondary bracket, we have Not Rennie Newman versus Dennis and Jim versus Murkrow Asylum. So again, these guys, if they lose one more time, they will be out of the tournament. If they want to take it all, they're going to have to win along the secondary bracket and find their way back up to the winners, to the winner of the winners bracket. Now in round 2, we have Rick Flareon coming in to versus DJ Power. We have Dr. Trotter versus Mikey Morgs. We've got Triple Crit versus Achilles Hero. And we have Stumpy versus Dank Brode. And is that exactly what was predicted here? It looks like that is exactly what was predicted here. Oh my gosh, Bamboss is a psychic. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Bamboss, you absolute wizard. Okay, now I'm not sure which matchup we are going to be featuring. I think we're following Rick Flareon, who has decided to bring in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 CP Flareons, with the 6th one being the Shadow type. So we're going to have Rick Flareon versus DJ Power. So let's take a quick, what we're going to do, we're going to bring up the teams. Hiya! And there's teams. We have the teams on the screen. We've got Rick Flareon on the left here with the Vigoroth, the Trevenant, Deoxys defense form, then Ninetales, Alolan, Shadow Beedrill, Lantern, Altaria, and Galarian Stunfisk. And over on DJ Power side, we have the Vigoroth as well, the Sableye, the Deoxys as well, the Alolan Ninetales as well, Shadow Dragonite, the Lantern as well, the Toxicroak, and definitely has a strong chance of fighting all the way through now. Okay, we have the bans. Rick Flareon has banned Sableye and Deoxys. So we'll plug those bans right onto the screen. Bing bong, bing bong. Rick Flareon has banned Sableye and Deoxys. Boop. And then we have bans from DJ Power. Has banned Trevenant and Beedrill. Okay, so is going to try and protect the Alolan Ninetales a little bit. And actually, that's interesting. So we actually saw no Alolan Ninetales banned. So there's the bans. X'd out. So now we have our teams of 6. We can see that there is still 2 counter users over on DJ Power side, and now an even 2 counter users on Ric Flairion's side as well. It sounds like we do have both of them have shared their screen, so I'll just grab them momentarily. We'll just go to grid view, and then we want to go out, and then we want to go in, and then we want to grab this as well. Da, 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 da. I'm a professional, guys. I'm a professional. Okay. Remember that thing about me saying I was professional? Well, we actually need to flip the we need to flip the screen over. Okay. Right. Oh man. Okay. Right. Ric Flairion, you're over there. DJ Power, you're over there. Team, you're gonna be DJ Power now. You're over there. And Ric Flairion, you are going to be over there. Okay, and then scooch the bands over. You are going over there, and you are going over there. Cut. There we go. Okay, I think we've got it correct now. We've got it correct. We did it, chat. We did. Oh, dearie me. Okay, so both battlers are sort of getting ready now. The invite hasn't quite been sent. It looks like it's, or maybe, no, that hasn't been sent yet. Unless Ric Flairion has sent it. Oh, okay, they're doing TMs. They're TMing their Pokemon in sort of preparation for what is to come here. So again, this is a format where they are allowed to ban, after the bans, before they start battling, they are allowed to TM their Pokemon. But as soon as the first battle begins, no TMs allowed. So, I won't spoil what we are going to see here, just in case. But definitely going to be seeing some interesting movesets coming through, assuming we do get to see them get used there. Clap your hands 3 times if you're live. No, 5 times, 10 times, just to be sure. Okay, hang on. 1, 2, 3. Do I have to do 3, then 5, then 10? Or do I have to do 10 and that counts as 3, 5, 10? I better do all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Success! And I don't have a plushie to put on head to prove it's not live anywhere around here. So I apologize, and I will understand if you don't forgive me for that. Like that, it's fair enough. I won't hold any grudges for you holding grudges against me. I think that I've disappointed you all, and so sometimes these things happen, and we just have to acknowledge them. We have to accept them, and we have to move on. And that's what we're going to try and do. But yeah, it looks like we are just. I think they've both finished their TMs, so maybe they're trying to figure out who's going to send to who. Oh, maybe I should have been telling them that they could start if they wanted. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it's live now. It wasn't live before, but it is live now. It's just become live. Should I be telling them that they can start potentially? Maybe I should have told them. Sorry, guys. Can we do an ASMR stream? ASMR Pokemans. Where is the? Okay, so live, sending messages to say that they can start when ready. Start when ready at Rick at DJ Power, and lots of exclamation marks. Exclamation marks really helps you get your point across. Keep that in mind. All right. Oh, we have one final TM happening here. Dun. Okay, so I'm gonna stop getting distracted by the TMing that's going on the left side of my screen. So what have we got left? We have 2 counter users apiece, and then we have Alola Ninetales on both sides. Now, unfortunately for DJ Power, both of the counter users on Ric Flairion's side do not have the fighting typing. That's actually one of the typings that they've decided to not bring. One of the 2 typings. Ric Flairion has ditched the fighting typing, which is interesting because Ric Flairion was the one who sort of showed how powerful the Surfetch'd could be at the Melbourne Play Pokemon tournament. So is not the one to have brought Surfetch'd this time around. Maybe another time. There'll be more chances for this. There'll be more chances. But regardless, Ric Flair has locked in his team. We are just now waiting for DJ Power to lock in, and then we'll be good to rock and roll. We do have some pretty similar teams here. I think that Alola Ninetales is probably a little bit of a lock for DJ Power, just because, like, even though the two counter users are there that aren't necessarily weak to Charm, they will still take a lot of damage from Charm. There's the Charm Ninetales Mirror, decent against Lantern, obviously super good up against Altaria, and then Galarian Stunfisk is not great. But if you can do that much damage to that much of your opponent's team, you're not in too bad of a spot in the grand scheme of things. And then I guess DJ Power really needs to bring, is sort of forced to bring either or both of Alola Ninetales and Galarian Stunfisk, because the Altaria on Ric Flareon side is really, really scary. Like, insanely scary. Ridiculously scary. It's scary with a cherry on top. Like, I know it's the 25th of September right now, but it may as well be Halloween with how spooky that... Oh, we're going in. I clicked the wrong button, but regardless, it's all for the drama. The battle's not starting, though. Why is the battle not starting? Hey, the battle's starting. Okay. Game just had to figure itself out first. And we actually have a double counter user going in for the very start of round 2 here. We do see that the moveset, actually Toxicroak has run out straight away into the Lantern. We can see that Defense Deoxys is running the Psycho Boost and the Rock Slide. A little bit of lag here, hoping that it might catch up and be mutual. We'll see. Okay, there's the counters catching up, I think. So I think we might be in an okay spot, but we're throwing the Psycho Boost just to try and put that big hurt of damage onto the Lantern. Potentially, and we do see a swap out here. So go, whoa, what is that we're seeing on our screen? Hopefully Ric Flareon is getting something a little bit cleaner than that, because that is wild. Ric Flareon's screen is just combusted, it seems, by swapping into Galarian Stunfisk. Now we've got the Stunfisk versus Lantern now going away. Again, a little bit of lag here, hoping that it's mutual. It looks like it might be. Hopefully our Lantern didn't, wasn't... It's hard to say when you get in these situations that no one is playing like exactly how they want to, but we'll see how it plays out. Gets that first surf onto the Galarian Stunfisk. We do see G-Fisk getting the Earthquake off before Lantern can get to this surf, which is going to actually let it go through. Lantern is going to go down here and try and get some farm on another Pokemon. Which we unfortunately can't see the bottom of. That I'll fix. If we get the Galarian Stunfisk coming in for the mirror, definitely going to do a little bit of damage here. I mean, you're going to have to burn a shield to sort of make sure you're safe here if you are DJ Power. But actually, yeah, he's going to call it correctly. No reason sort of trying to be fancy and keep a shield there. We're seeing a swap out into Defense Deoxys so that he can't get the full farm down. And going to throw the Earthquake straight away. We do get this shield from the Defense Deoxys. A really nice shield from Defense Deoxys there, and then we're going to keep on farming away. Defense Deoxys doesn't really have like a move that's awesome to throw up against the Galarian Stunfisk. Does have Psycho Boost, but doesn't want to throw it too early as to not debuff the attack. And now we do see an Earthquake connecting to the Deoxys before a swap out into Toxicroak. This is a really interesting swap because it just invites Deoxys to throw these Psycho Boosts here. DJ Power, presumably, I guess, maybe they were trying to get energy. Does burn the shield, so wants to keep this Toxicroak around. But is not going to be able to counter down. Oh, no. Okay, I was going to say not going to be able to counter down without another Psycho Boost coming through. When lag is in the picture, yes, that actually might be exactly how it happens. So we'll see how the rest of this battle does play out, but we may have a dispute on our hands. Toxicroak now with just extra energy here, throwing the Mud Bomb to do that big old damage onto the Lantern, which is going to hurt. But luckily, because Lantern does now have access to the lower energy Surf, it is able to put a little bit more hurt back into Toxicroak. And Toxicroak has no shields here. Tries to catch the move and does catch the move on the Galarian Stunfisk. Brilliant catch. Really nicely done. Even with the lag condition, Ric Flareon coming in to do the best he possibly can. Here comes that Lantern coming back. Gonna have to throw the move as soon as possible. Actually going for the Thunderbolt, but unfortunately, the Mud Bomb is coming off first, getting the shield here. Lantern, not sure if we actually clicked the move. Is that a CMP tie? Looks like it is not. Just going to keep water gunning away and actually going for the Thunderbolt here, just to try and take this thing out. Going to reveal the entire moveset of this Lantern. And then we do see that little bit of a Galarian Stunfisk coming back out, and unfortunately for Ric Flareon, is going to be able to take it out there. So that was definitely a little bit unfortunate on the lag side of things. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we sort of see that may come to a dispute. I'll just keep an eye on the Australis Shield Discord channel. But I will... It's so hecky. It's just unfortunate when that sort of thing does happen. So I'm keeping your eyes on the Australis Shield chat. If you aren't in the Arena Australis Discord server, by the way, I can grab an invite. I don't think I have a command set up. And Ric Flair is also doing the right thing and uploading their game data to their battle logs, so that Niantic can potentially correct these issues when they do sort of flare up. Let me get that invite for you guys. I don't have Twitch open on here. I have to get it on here. Phone invite time. Invite. Copy link. Twitch.tv. And yes, I will follow the chat rules. I promise. Boop. There we go. There's the Discord link to join the Arena Australis server if you are interested. It's just so that you can potentially see the chat messages as well as we go. DJ Power is currently typing. So we'll see what does sort of pop out here. I have a feeling that, obviously I'm not the TO here, so I'm not making big decisions. But it looks like, okay, actually let's think about it. If Ric Flair was able to get that charge move off and hurt that Toxicroak quite significantly, Toxicroak potentially would have still been able to do some big damage before going down, and then you would have been left with the G. See, that G-Fisk just had a lot of energy on DJ, a lot of health, sorry, on DJ Power's side. So I almost wonder if, was it insurmountable, or was it, DJ Powers said, okay, yeah, DJ Powers said there's no way that he can take it as a clean win. So really good sportsmanship. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Shout out to DJ Power there. It's just awesome to see, because no one likes... Look, lag sucks for everyone. If you lose to lag, obviously you sort of feel robbed a little bit. But if you win based on lag, then you're also kind of like... I just heard like Pokemon battle cry sounds. Is there a battle? Is there a battle happening? It doesn't look like it. I can't see anything on the... My thing seems to be... Is it frozen? Because I'm definitely hearing sounds. Okay. Actually, I was going to say I'll show you what I can see, but I can't do that because that'll reveal a team selection thing. I'm not sure what's happening, quite frankly. And I'm not... Can you guys hear these sounds that are coming through? Or is it just me that you can, like... Have I got it accidentally coming through on the stream, or that's the real question? I'm a little confused. Yeah, okay, don't hear anything. Okay. Okay, maybe I'm just being haunted. Also can't hear anything from the Discord voice chat. Okay, interesting. Do I have something else open? Did I accidentally open a Twitch stream somewhere and it's like playing the music back to me? I'm not sure. But regardless, it looks like we are just waiting for them to sort of figure that out. If you want to do a replay on agreement, Bamboss has obviously ruled that if you want to do a rematch, like, especially if you're the one who's won based on a rematch, and you've said, yeah, let's rematch, then, rematch, good sportsmanship. Just going ahead. Going right ahead, basically. But they might be talking to the DMs. They might be discussing what they want to do as far as, like, same lead, same back line, same lead, different back line. We'll see, though. We'll see. But I think looking at the teams that they did bring, I don't think there was any big surprises there. I think that Defense Deoxys is definitely quite strong up against DJ Power's team. So it was definitely a big pick for Ric Flair to bring in. The Toxicroak, a little bit See, I don't know. It's actually a really good pick against like a lot of Ric Flair's team. Like you've got access to the Mud Bomb for the Lantern. You've got the Mud Bomb and counter for the Galarian Stunfisk. You've got counter for the Vigoroth. You've got access to Sludge Bomb for the Alola Ninetales that could be running around as well. Deoxys, you're a little bit more stuck, and Altaria, you're quite stuck, although you can still go for the odd Sludge Bomb here or there. But okay, Ric Flair is locked in a team, but it looks like DJ Power has not got the invite, from what I can see at least. So it may be another case of needing to back out and resend invites, potentially. Do. Yeah, not sure here, but regardless, I mean, what else have we got here? We've got the Shadow. I really want to see the Shadow Dragonite, and maybe there's like an opportunity for it to come in because we didn't see the Alola Ninetales. We didn't see. I mean, we saw the Lantern, which is definitely a little bit scary for the Shadow Dragonite, but Shadow Dragonite still does a lot of damage back to the Lantern. So I don't know if it's really the end of the world for it if it does get stuck in that scenario, to be completely honest with you. I mean, we've also got the Toxicroak that's... I think if you pair it up with the Toxicroak potentially, maybe you go Dragonite, Toxicroak Bodyguard, because Toxicroak really does cover... I guess it doesn't cover the Alola Ninetales so well, so maybe you have to bring in like Galarian Stunfisk, but it does look like we are actually about to go into game number 2. Game number 1, rematch of game 1. DJ Power, 948 versus Ric Flair. We're seeing the same leads here with the Toxicroak into the Defense Deoxys, and we'll see if they decide to play it any differently this time around. Now, last time we saw that instant swap into Lantern. We see that again. Previously, we saw Ric Flair go for the Psycho Boost before swapping out. But no, this time we see the swap out into Galarian Stunfisk instead. Galarian Stunfisk is definitely going to be scared of these Surfs from the Lantern that are going to be super effective, but will be able to tank one here and then get to the Earthquake to put that big damage back onto the Lantern. Oh, actually, no. Going past it. Over farming. We're going to be able to survive this Surf as well. So Galarian Stunfisk can potentially try and go for a move of farming as much as possible and then throwing the Earthquake. We do know that both of these Pokemon are switch locked in here. So this Lantern isn't going to be able to escape and make any sort of sacrificial swap, any catches on another Pokemon. So he's going to have to eat the brunt of this Earthquake. And man, that hurts. Lantern going down. At this point, can bring in either Pokemon. We saw in the last game, DJ Power did bring in the Galarian Stunfisk to get a little bit of farm. But this time, actually going to bring in the Toxicroak. Toxicroak getting that little bit of extra farm, and with the Defense Deoxys and Lantern on the Ric Flair side, I think you'd almost certainly bring in that Defense Deoxys, try and get some Psycho Boost action happening onto the Toxicroak to absolutely destroy. There is the potential for catches. The switch timer is up, so Ric Flair has to be a little bit careful that the Psycho Boost doesn't get caught on the Pokemon in the back that does happen to be that Galarian Stunfisk that would do an okay amount of damage against, but it's not really where you want it to be. Now, we see the swap out into Galarian Stunfisk here, getting a little bit of energy before the Lantern with Water Gun is able to swap out, which is actually going to let DJ Power get to this Earthquake first. We're going to see Ric Flair really have to think about whether this is a bait or not. Does call it successfully, shields up the Earthquake, really nice shield there, and is now going to be able to farm up to 1 Surf. We're up to 1.5, oh, not quite up to 1.5. We're going to throw the 1 Surf now. Galarian Stunfisk, I think, may have just been able to survive that Surf, but is going to shield up here. And then keep going along. We're at the Earthquake now. Lantern is almost also at another Surf, but unfortunately is not going to be able to hang on very tightly with this big old Galarian Stunfisk Earthquake coming its way. Down goes the Lantern, and now we're going to have to see something come back in. It is that Defense Deoxys, who does have energy, and this is that spot where it's like you don't have any super effective moves for Galarian Stunfisk. You just throw the Rock Slides, who can try and weaken it down a little bit more, so you need just a few less counters. Here comes Toxicroak, which means that it's about to be a bait game. It's going to be a question of whether Ric Flair is able to land the Psycho Boost on this Toxicroak or not. If they go straight for it and it lands, that's going to be absolutely huge. The pressure is seriously on here. We're seeing another little bit of lag here. This is not good. Oh, and unfortunately, we see it happen again. Now, I think that was a little bit of a worse spot for Ric Flair this time around. I'm not sure if he would have be able to pull that out. you would have had to go for the Psycho Boost, had DJ Power not shield, because if he did shield, it would have almost certainly been GG's. And then, I guess, hope that you can do enough damage before a charge move comes through in the back. I mean, it's not impossible. I don't know. We'll have to see what they end up saying in the chat if anything does come up here, or if they're gonna go ahead to game number 2. We'll just wait on word, depending on which way it goes. But they did go for the same team, so we're seeing it play out the same. Well, no, I was gonna say we're gonna see it play. We saw it play out the same way. Not actually the case. It did play out a little bit different there. Some different decisions made. Ric Flair deciding to not throw the Psycho Boost onto Lantern to weaken it down, which is the better play, because as we saw, the Galarian Stunfisk only had to land that one Earthquake to just nuke the Lantern out of existence. So when you sort of have that foresight of how the teams are going to go, because of these lag disputes, you can sort of then go, it is safer for me to keep the energy on my defense Deoxys, so that, we can... sorry, I got distracted because there were sounds coming through again, but it looks like it's unclear to me if they're going into game 2 or if this is another replay. It looks like that's a different team coming in from Ric Flareon, so I'm going to assume that Ric Flareon was happy to concede that battle because it didn't look very good for him. So I'm going to guess that it's at DJ Power 1 to Ric Flareon 0 in this round 2. I'm going to assume. But we'll see. Maybe it plays out that way, maybe it doesn't. And now we're just waiting on DJ Power to pick his team, and then we'll be jumping right into it. Now, as far as adjustments, the Lantern is scared of that Galarian Stunfisk, and I guess, Ric Flareon can't really do any much more to be, more prepared for the Galarian Stunfisk. Brought in the Defense Deoxys, brought in the G-Fisk for the Mirror, brought in the Lantern that has access to Surf, that can get to the Surfs pretty quickly as well. Ric Flareon is running Water Gun, which, it does a lot of good damage. It's a more of a harder hitting Pokemon, but it's still able to get to the charge moves relatively quickly. Looks like we are jumping into what I'm going to assume is game 2 here, with the Galarian Stunfisk lead going into the Defense Deoxys. So not really where Galarian Stunfisk wants to be, but we'll see how it does end up playing out regardless. We see another quick swap into the Lantern, this time from DJ Power, and there's the swap into Galarian Stunfisk, which is such an interesting swap, because look how much energy that Lantern already has, pre-swap. It's got 2 Surfs now, ready to just throw. Now, we did see this before, that Galarian Stunfisk is going to be able to tank both of these Surfs, but it is going to be left quite low. And I guess it then puts the decision the ball back in DJ Power's court in a sort of way, because it now is going to let Ric Flareon throw the Earthquake and force DJ Power to either take that massive Earthquake hit and essentially lose the Lantern. Oh no, we're going to go for the bait scenario. We're going for the Rock Slide, trying to get this shield out. It does get the shield. Gets the shield out of DJ Power. It is now going to try and force ahead to another Earthquake. One more Mud Shot, and it is... I feel like Ric Flareon has to shield here, because you get the shield and then you get to throw another Earthquake, and that is what we are seeing. Shield up the Galarian Stunfisk. We're charging up a little bit more energy. Not quite another Surf from Lantern side, so finally now throwing the Earthquake. Does DJ Power decide to burn another shield? They do not, letting the Lantern go. So both sides essentially lost a shield in that transaction, with DJ Power now able to come in and get 2 counters. Would have been able to get a little bit more if the match did sort of play out a little bit, so G-Fisk had more health. But now we see that Ric Flareon, with the double counter uses, is now locked in up against that Galarian Stunfisk, and this is not awesome for DJ Power by any stretch of the imagination. The counter damage is seriously going to be adding up here. Shielding up the Earthquake, Ric Flareon successfully calling the big nuke move, and at this point, unfortunately does have to go for Bulldoze, even though Bulldoze is just an atrocious move. It's not good. It's not good efficiency. It doesn't do a very good amount of damage. It's sort of higher energy than you'd like, but hey, it's better than a Body Slam when you're throwing it at a G-Fisk, and it is going to be enough here. So here comes that Toxicroak back. Toxicroak doing super effective counter damage to the Vigoroth, with Vigoroth just doing sort of neutral, not neutral, resisted back, with the body slams are doing big neutral damage for sure. We've seen Toxicroak farming up some extra energy here. Vigoroth does go for the charge move, and DJ Power actually going to let this go. Wants to just let the Toxicroak go down, and is going to decide to rest his entire hopes on game 3, I suppose. Because, yeah, that shield was still hanging around. So that does put us in a 1-1 scenario. So we are all tied up as we head into game 3 of round 2 in this double elimination bracket. After this match is done, we will go back and check in on the results. It looks like this is the final match to go in the winners bracket for this round. So I won't spoil the results yet, but we will have a lot of results to take a look at once we get through this third battle. So I think that what we sort of saw in that battle was the swap over to the double counter user from Rick Flareon. And quite frankly, it just worked. I mean, the Galarian Sunfisk sort of got stuck. The Toxicroak came out and wasn't really able to do, because it was running that Mud Bomb, Sludge Bomb, this is kind of what we were talking a little bit about before, where you could decide to run Dynamic Punch on your Toxicroak that would put you in a really strong position up against something like a Vigoroth. But without that, you kind of, I guess you just don't have much of an oomph to throw up against that Vigoroth. And we saw Vigoroth was just able to get those body slams off really quickly. Big neutral damage to just really put a lot of pressure onto DJ Power and not able to do much. But it looks like we are going into this big game 3 here to decide who is going ahead in the winners bracket. We're going to see the Lantern from DJ Power into the Vigoroth from Rick Flareon. Usually we saw in the last couple of games Lantern be the safe swap here, but instead we're going to safe swap into Vigoroth, the Sylph Arena classic safe swap, possibly the first safe swap ever used by every battler under the sun. Now we've got the body slam being shielded up here from Rick Flareon. Rick Flareon does have the energy advantage, and DJ Power has to consider how he wants to operate that. Oh, we see the swapper into defense Deoxys. This is not great for DJ Power at all, because these body slams are going to add up, but the counter user damage is going to add up a little bit more on the normal type Vigoroth. So going to keep just plugging away, throwing these moves. Could sort of just throw a Rock Slide and finish it off, but Deoxys can keep its cool, going to stay in, tank a little bit more damage so it can charge up a little bit more energy before sort of finishing the deal. Can we get a full farm down from this Deoxys? Oh my gosh, we get a full farm down. This is not good for DJ Power at all. If Toxicroak comes in, it's just, as dead as doornails, but Lantern still has a little bit of an opportunity to try and get some amount of damage in because the Deoxys does not have Thunderbolt. Again, it's a moveset scenario. Rock Slide not going to do too much to this Lantern. And Rick Flareon decided that the Psycho Boost debuff was not worth it. Wanted to get a little bit more counter damage in before throwing the Psycho Boost. And we actually now get the shield out of DJ Power. So wanting to keep this Lantern alive, potentially to try and get, try and keep the Toxicroak away from something that might be scary in the back. And we can see that there is an Altaria in the back of Rick Flareon's team, which could be absolutely disastrous for DJ Power, depending on how this battle ends up going. Does just let that go, brings in the Altaria, and we see a swap out into Toxicroak. There are 2 shields on Altaria and no shields on Toxicroak. This is just one of the most painful things you have to see if you are DJ Power. This Sky Attack is going to absolutely destroy Toxicroak. It is not going to like this one little bit. Down goes the Toxicroak. Here comes the Lantern, and with 2 shields still up, Altaria can essentially just double shield Dragon Breath down. Oh, hang on a minute. We see the no shield on the Thunderbolt, thinking that it's just going to be a Surf. This is going to hurt the Altaria, but Altaria, with the Dragon typing resisting the Electric type, it does make it just neutral, and so it doesn't care about it too much. And here we are going for the Moonblast just to seal the deal and take this Lantern out and securing the round for Rick Flareon with a really tight 2-1. But a massive shout out to DJ Power for his sportsmanship in that earlier battle, where we did see DJ Power winning based on lag, and was just winning straight up, willing to sort of say, yeah, this is a lag scenario, and it's not really how it should have gone. I think we should rematch. So definitely huge respect for DJ Power for that regard. And of course, DJ Power is not out of the tournament. Is still just going to be going into the losers bracket. Now, with that said, we can jump over and take a bit of a look at the bracket that we've got at the moment. You can see we've got that Rick Flareon versus DJ Power right up the top there. With, again, we've just seen Ric Flair take it out with the 2-1 as the number 1 seeded battler. We've got Dr. Trotter able to take out Mikey Morgs, who we watched in the previous round to defeat Dennis. Dr. Trotter taking it out with a 2-1 as well. Triple Crit was able to take out Achilles Hero with a 3-0. And we've seen, presumably, unless there's some sort of shenanigans going on here, Stumpy taking out Dank Brode with a 2-1 as well. So a lot of tight battles up in the winners sort of bracket here. We come down to the elimination bracket. We can see that Dennis has got a 3-0 up against Not Rainy Newman, and Mirko Asylum has got the 2-1 against Jim at 25-04. So unfortunately, Not Rainy Newman and Jim have been knocked out of the tournament. Not Rainy Newman, who was running the spiciest team, maybe that is adage to the phrase, meta is meta for a reason. And of course, Jim making me sad as the Newcastle representative. But regardless, we are going to see Dennis and Mirko progress along the secondary bracket. And we'll see Mikey Morgs, Achilles Hero, Dank Brode, and DJ Power all join them there as well. But we are now going to see in the next round, we have in the winners bracket, we're down to the semi-finals. Love you, Trotter. So in the semi-finals of the winners bracket, we have Ric Flairion going ahead to verse Dr. Trotter, who we all saw start the next round by putting in Stumpy's result manually. We've then got Triple Crit versus Stumpy 25-17, who I may have to manually battle for him as well. We will just have to wait and see how that one does go. And then in the elimination bracket, Achilles Hero and Dank Brode, who have come from the winners bracket, are being given a bye. And this has sort of worked out where they didn't get a bye in the first round. They've had to battle the first round, so I guess they're getting the bye a little bit delayed. And now we're going to see Mikey Morgs versus Dennis and DJ Power versus Mirko Asylum. And these matches are going to go ahead simultaneously to the matches up here. And I believe that the one we are going to be watching is the Ric Flairion. So there's our two teams, and then we'll grab the footage as well. Of course, we do still need to wait for their bans, so we're not in a massive rush. We're not in a massive rush, guys. Not in a massive rush. Okay. So let's take a look at what we are working with as far as teams are concerned before we do get the bans coming through. So Dr. Trotter's team, again, was one of the 2 Talonflame users. Also brought in the Ariados. Why do I have headphones in? What am I listening to? I'm not listening to anything. I'm gonna put that down. So we've got the Trevenant, the Swampert, the Lickitung, the Talonflame, Umbreon, Metacham, the Bastiodon, and the Ariados. Now, Bastiodon was a pick that I do remember Dr. Trotter performing decently with at the Season 1. They were technically called the World Championships, I think. It was in Santiago. Were they World Championships? It was like Continentals, but in person, and there wasn't a World Championships either after. So I'm gonna call it Continentals. So, and then on Ric Flairion's side, we have the Vigoroth, the Trevenant, the Defense Deoxys, the Alola Ninetales, Shadow Beedrill, Lantern, Altaria, and Galarian Stunfisk. So, ban predictions, because they've probably already sent them to the chat, and I've neglected to see it. Okay. We've got, what have we got? We've got Alola Ninetales is not looking as strong up against Dr. Trotter's team as it has a bunch of other teams. As much as you've got a Metacham and an Umbreon to really directly counter, you've got a lot of things that really scare it. You've got the Talonflame, that's quite scary. The Bastiodon, which is quite scary. The Ariados, which you might have guessed it. It's quite scary because it has that poison typing. And then even Shadow Swampert has some access to Sludge Wave. Trevenant isn't the worst up against a Charm, Alola Ninetales either. So I think it's almost going to be a little bit of a risk for Ric Flairion to bring that Alola Ninetales out. So I wouldn't be... Actually, I guess then you have to consider the bans. Maybe we see, Talonflame and Bastiodon get banned, and then... or maybe you go for Bastiodon and Ariados to protect it a little bit better, and then try and perform incredibly scary feats with the Alola Ninetales. There's sort of a lot of different ways you can play it there. I have a feeling that Lickitung on Dr. Trotter's side looks incredibly strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing that get banned because it really doesn't have a direct counter. Obviously, Defense Deoxys has counter, but is going to take super effective lick damage back and still doesn't have that fighting charge move to do super effective charge move damage to Lickitung. Or Lickitung is still able to do relatively decent. We have the bans. Ric Flairion has banned Trevenant and Metacham from Boom Boom Boom. So what have we got? We've got Trevenant and Metacham banned on Dr. Trotter's team. There's Trevenant, and there's Metacham, and then Ric Flair. Dr. Trotter has decided to ban the Altaria and the Galarian Stunfisk. Okay, so he wants to keep his Bastion. Okay, no, actually, I was going to say he wants to keep his Bastion healthy, but he's banned Altaria. So was he expecting Bastion to be banned? I don't know, because Ric Flair does have 2 counter users, and a Beedrill with Drill Run, and a Lantern with Surf. So I don't think that we're going to see much in the way of Bastion usage coming out from Dr. Trotter going into this battle. I will just tag Trotter and Ric Flair and just say, just to make it clear, start when you're ready. Smiley face. Love a good smiley face. Okay, so what's sort of left? I think Talonflame also looks remarkably strong and is really going to force Ric Flair to bring the Lantern. Because if you look at it, Talonflame beats Trevenant, beats Alola Ninetales, beats Beedrill, does pretty good against the Vigoroth, and does okay up against... Actually, he doesn't do great up against Defense Deoxys, to be completely honest, but it does have a lot of play, especially because you have access to Brave Bird. You can really just nuke everything out of the water. And speaking of the water, Lantern is right there as sort of that main counter, access to Surf. So, look, if I had to put money on this game, which I would never because Twitch has banned gambling, then I would say that Talonflame is almost an instant bring from Dr. Trotter, and Lantern in turn is probably an instant bring from Ric Flareon. So we'll see what they decide to do with the rest of their teams. Potentially, Dr. Trotter tries to play Bodyguard a little bit. Maybe you decide to bring in the Ariados to try and counter that. Counter the Deoxys a little bit more. Also, a fight back up against the Trevenant a little bit. But then you're still like a little bit weak to the Lantern, which I guess that's sort of a really big strength of Ric Flareon's ban of Trevenant. By banning Trevenant, Lantern has been given a little bit more free reign. It's sort of like Swampert is, I suppose, the biggest counter. Maybe Lickitung, depending on how you sort of see that. Like, I know it has access to the Grass-type Power Whip, but it's not really like... No one sees Lickitung as a Grass-type powerhouse. So, I don't know. But, no, Vigoroth ended up not being banned. Vigoroth is still in it. And Vigoroth is actually also probably, like... I guess you have to think, because... When you consider the fact that Dr. Trotter is incredibly unlikely to bring the Bastiodon, just because it's so sort of hard-walled, I guess like Vigoroth still looks really good. It's still like good against Lickitung, good against Umbreon, has play against Talonflame, has play against Swampert. Ariados, it has a better matchup against Ariados than Defense Deoxys does. But then you're sort of playing that with Defense Deoxys has a better matchup up against Talonflame. And with Talonflame being the sort of really strong pick that it is for Dr. Trotter, maybe you want to go for something that's a little bit stronger in that regard, sort of expecting that it is going to come out. And this is kind of funny because, again, as I sort of mentioned earlier in the stream, Ric Flareon was one of the big Talonflame users, the big Talonflame success stories from the Melbourne Play Pokemon Tournament, where he performed quite well. Quite well is a bit of an understatement. He came out on top. Big King Ric Flareon rolling up with the Surf Edge and the Talonflame, but has not brought the Talonflame in favor of bringing in the sort of new play Pokemon stable of Altaria. But Altaria has been banned, and it looks like we are now going to be jumping in to game 1 of the winners semi-finals between Dr. Trotter and Ric Flareon. Again, double elimination, so someone can lose once and still be in the tournament. Now, in the lead, we've got Dr. Trotter's Umbreon into the Defense Deoxys, which is such a strange matchup because they're both doing relatively large damage to each other. Umbreon has that super effective foul play damage that it can keep on throwing quite quickly at the Defense Deoxys, whereas Defense Deoxys is throwing big counters and then just throwing rock slides to sort of add a little bit more. But Umbreon overall is sort of the big winner in the end of the days. So we see a swap out into the double counter user, just as we saw Ric Flareon use in the previous round. But so it doesn't care as much about the foul plays, but it's still going to do a fair amount of damage here. And now we've got the swap out into Ariados. Again, Ariados would sort of prefer to be up against the Umbreon a little bit, but when you sort of consider the fact that you've already got was against the Defense Deoxys, sorry. But when you consider the fact that you sort of have the Ariados, like you can use Umbreon for Deoxys instead of Ariados, you're sort of not in as bad of a spot. So we do see the Ariados going straight for the lunge here to try and bring that attack right down. Not quite enough to take the Vigoroth out, and Vigoroth is almost at 2 body slams as well. So Dr. Trotter recognizes that his Ariados was not going to be alive much longer, even if he burned the shield there. So, oh, we actually do see get up to the cross poison first. Oh my gosh. Actually going to be able to take out Switch Advantage because Ric Flareon not going to burn the shield here. This Vigoroth is going to go down. And then whatever comes in is not going to get much in the way of farm on this Ariados. But this is actually a pretty big for Dr. Trotter. Interesting. Okay, we're not going to get any charge move off on that on the Ariados. And now that the Lantern is locked out, Dr. Trotter is safely able to sort of protect his Talonflame away from this Lantern. But it does mean that Talonflame is going to have to take on the Defense Deoxys that knows Rock Slide in a little bit, which is going to be incredibly scary. So Dr. Trotter is going to have to think about how to play this the best he can, farming up as much energy as possible before throwing this foul play. He's going to have to do a little bit more than that because this Umbreon is just going to get water gunned down before he's going to be able to take this Lantern out. Like, that did not do much. And here's the Deoxys coming back. So this is actually given Dr. Trotter a window, because now Dr. Trotter can try and escape this Deoxys matchup with energy that he could try and throw at the Lantern. Hopefully getting through this. Oh my... Okay, I think Dr. Trotter might have just submitted defeat at the sight of the Defense Deoxys coming in with the Rock Slide, because look, it was going to be a little rough. It was going to be hard to come back from that one, and to be honest, it probably couldn't be done. So Dr. Trotter just deciding that, you know what, this game, let's not use our shields. Let's just leave it as a even 2 shields apiece. No one gets an official 2 shield flex. But as a reminder to everyone, you can use your shields. You just, when the opponent throws a charge move, a little like prompt comes up and it says, "Do you want a shield?" You just have to tap the shield and it uses it. So, you know, let them know that they are allowed to. But that does put Ric Flareon up 1-0. Only 1 game away from the grand finals in this tournament as well. But Dr. Trotter, even if he loses here, no matter who loses here, is still going to be in the tournament, just flying along the elimination bracket. Now, as they sort of pick their teams, obviously we definitely saw Dr. Trotter bring that Talonflame out. We saw Ric Flareon bring the Lantern out, as we sort of would have expected. But Ric Flareon was sort of just able to fandangle his way around. I mean, the Ariados didn't really get on Deoxys where it wanted to be. The Umbreon had to face the Vigoroth, which I guess Dr. Trotter wasn't really prepared to face on the double counter user so much without alignment going perfectly his way. So potentially we could see a little bit of a swap out to... I mean, you could try and bring in the Shadow Swampert, potentially. Like, that's one way to go about it. To try and do that big Hydro Cannon damage. Unclear what his second move is, whether he does have the Earthquake or the Sludge Wave. I think... Oh, you can kind of go either way, because Sludge Wave would give you more play against the Trevenant and the Alola Ninetales, whereas Earthquake would give you that real closing power up against that Lantern and also Beedrill. But I guess if you're up against a Beedrill, you'll probably just go for Hydro Cannon anyway. So, especially because it is a Shadow Beedrill, so it like takes even more damage. But it looks like we've got some invite issues going on the back end, so we might be another minute or two before we are actually able to get into this one, even though I think both battlers are quite prepared as far as what lineup they are going to bring into this game. Numero Tuno. Now, Beedrill is a Pokemon that I kind of want to see, but I don't think we're going to see it because it doesn't really like serve much of a purpose except for beating out the Umbreon. Like, I guess you've got Drill Run for Bastiodon, but you're probably not going to see Bastiodon come out, as we sort of discussed before. Plus, Bastiodon is still doing that big rock damage to you regardless, so it's not like you're in a good matchup against Bastiodon. Yeah, it's. I don't think we're going to see Beedrill. I don't think we're going to see Bastiodon. So, you know, we've knocked him down to 5. What have we got left? Are we going to see a Trevenant? Probably not, when there's a Talonflame and an Umbreon and an Ariados and a Bastiodon and a Lickitung. Trevenant is actually probably like definitely not coming out from Ric Flareon's side. So the teams are actually sort of a little bit limited as far as what they are going to do. Like Ric Flareon, he's almost forced to bring in the double counter user Lantern line and just sort of play around it. Obviously, it worked for him in the first game. Like, he was able to get the alignment perfect. Yeah, actually, Belowsland coming in with the very good point that you are supposed to save them for the next season. Now you have to keep that in mind because we are in the we're in the off season, so you don't need to use your shields yet. But yeah, I think he just didn't burn his shields, Evo, because he sort of knew that the game was lost. He'd sort of seen 50 moves ahead and gone, there is no universe in which I can get through both shields on this Deoxys and take it out before it gets through my 2 shields with rock slides and then takes me out with 1 rock slide with the little bit of health that Umbreon had left. But it looks like we are about to get in. We're seeing one last team change, and it looks like we'll be good and set to jump into game number 2 with Rick Flareon up 1-0. Only needs to win that one more game to progress to the next round. Da-da-da-da-da. He's thinking, and we are locking in, and we have game 2 coming up momentarily. Ding, 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 da-da-ding, ding, ding. Okay, there we go. Rick Flareon popping in first, and we've got the Lantern up against Dr. Trotter's Lickitung. Again, this is sort of weird because it's like Lickitung has a grass move, but neither of these Pokemon really are like dominating this spot. The thing about Rick Flareon's Lantern is that he really wants to get it up against a Talonflame. But where's the Talonflame? There's no Talonflame here. So this is actually like, it's fine for Rick Flareon to sort of be burning up his Lantern here, as you can sort of think about it. Using up the health, using up the energy. We've farmed up to the past the Power Whip. Dr. Trotter being wary of any sort of catch. Wouldn't want that Power Whip to be going on to, like a Beedrill or something. That would be very unfortunate. Does actually get a shield out of Rick Flareon's Lantern, which is really nice. Farming up to another Power Whip. Lantern's getting the energy as well, almost at the Thunderbolt, goes up to the Thunderbolt and then throws the Surf, but instant no shield from Dr. Trotter. He's not scared. He knows what's going on. He knows Lickitung is fine and bulky and safe, and before we actually tried to catch the Power Whip onto the Trevenant. Really interesting bring in with the Trevenant here, maybe calling that there's no, or maybe it was a play to actually bait out the Talonflame that does not exist, potentially. So shielding up the Shadow Ball. And Ariados is now going to farm up a ton of energy here. Could either go for the Cross Poison or the Lunge. Both are quite decent here. Charges up for the back-to-back Lunge before throwing the first one here. This is going to hurt quite a bit and reduce the attack on that Trevenant, and is not going to be able to take another one, so now going to go for the Cross Poison. Unfortunately for Dr. Trotter, was a CMP tie there, so this Shadow Ball is going to be coming through, and no shield, so this Ariados is just going to go down, even though his attack was debuffed with the Lunge. Shadow Ball is just that strong of a move. Now, luckily for Dr. Trotter, he's got the Umbreon. He can come in here and just soak up all of this energy, just, lie back, relax, and go, I don't need to worry about this at all. I can snarl all the way down. I'll take Seed Bombs all day long and just have a ton of energy to throw at whatever does end up coming out in the back. We actually see the swap out into Vigoroth. So Rick Flareon is now switch locked into this Vigoroth, which potentially may come in Dr. Trotter's favor, depending on how he wants to play with his Lickitung. Lickitung obviously quite low on health, but does have a Power Whip ready to go. So has to think about how he wants to get through this Umbreon versus Vigoroth matchup. Obviously, this is sort of a matchup that didn't go very well for him in the first game. It's sort of like, lost him his Umbreon a little bit. Okay, tried to make a bit of a catch there, throwing the Body Slam onto the Vigoroth, which may be enough to take this Vigoroth out, but Rick Flareon deciding to burn the shield, recognizes the importance of keeping this Vigoroth around. Lickitung almost getting to another Body Slam, but Vigoroth going for the Body Slam first to take it out. Potentially could have countered down there, but I'm not quite sure. Potentially not. Potentially that lick speed just would have been too much for it. But now the Body Slam going to come through. Not going to be enough to KO this Umbreon, but it's definitely going to get low. So shielding up the Body Slam here. Just really needs to shield anything. Could afford to charge up a little bit more energy, but going to go for this straight away so that it can survive a little bit more up against the Lantern that is waiting in the wings in the back. Umbreon is going to have a big uphill battle to take out this Lantern, though, because Lantern has quite a bit of health here, and Lantern is almost at a Surf as well. Unfortunately for Dr. Trotter, I think that this Surf might be enough alongside these Water Guns to take the Umbreon out, and this Foul Play, definitely not going to be enough. He's going to need another 2 Foul Plays alongside these Snarls. And actually, Rick Flareon, just to make sure of things, going to go up for the Thunderbolt to make sure that this matchup does end up getting taken out. So GG's there, Rick Flareon able to take that one out with a 2-0, knocking out Dr. Trotter into the elimination bracket and moving on into the grand finals of the winners bracket. So really well played by both battlers. Of course, Dr. Trotter definitely they had strategies. They knew what they were going to try and do. They were going to try and get the Lantern in one space. They were going to try and get the Talonflame in this other space. But unfortunately, it just didn't quite work out that way. It is definitely unfortunate. But we are going to get a battle number 3 between Dr. Trotter and Ric Flareon coming up shortly. Dr. Trotter has locked in his team, and we are just waiting for the lock-in from Ric Flareon. And I've done a bit of an oopsie, you see, and I haven't collected water. So I think after this, because I've been talking basically nonstop for the last 2 hours. So what we're gonna do is once this round goes through, I'm gonna just throw it to a super quick 5-minute break while I run off and actually prepare for this stream like I absolutely should have. There's an empty drink bottle over there, but that doesn't do much good for me, unfortunately. So someone redeem hydrate, please. I don't think I have that. I don't know what a Twitch redemption is. All right, we are jumping into game number 3. For some reason, Ric Flareon's game is a little bit behind, and we actually seen the Alolan Ninetales come out up against the Lickitung. This is an interesting spot. We have also seen the Talonflame get left home again. This time, the swap out into Vigoroth is being met by the Ariados. No Umbreon versus Vigoroth this time round. So there's the shield. Let's keep this Ariados nice and healthy, because as you know, if you have a lunge user that is going to be debuffing the attack of your opponents, you want to shield up the earlier moves, because the later ones are going to be debuffed. So if you have to let one move through and shield one move, shield one that does more damage, and then maybe you can even get yourself in a spot that you can get that extra charge move through. Now, here comes another Body Slam. This time is going to be a little bit debuffed, so Dr. Trotter is going to let this one come through. Definitely is going to be able to survive it quite nicely there, especially after the lunge debuff. So keep on farming. Can actually farm a lot of energy before this Vigoroth is able to get to its charge move. And it was just before that, so really nice timing. As much as these two videos aren't quite like in sync, it was actually nice timing. Sorry if that made a sound through the mic. But now Vigoroth hanging on by a thread, getting this Body Slam off. I think that this Ariados is still going to survive. So Dr. Trotter not going to lose switch advantage, and potentially, like depending on how you look at it, that could be a good thing, because maybe it means that there's less energy to farm. And now Ariados is going to be able to get this lunge off. Ric Flareon wasn't going to bring in that Alolan Ninetales because the cross poisons were going to be far too scary in that regard. So just going to throw the lunge there, get that defense debuff. Attack debuff on the Lantern, and now he's going to be able to bring in the Umbreon. And here comes that Alolan Ninetales. So Dr. Trotter able to put his Umbreon away from danger this time, with the Lickitung coming in to do the big neutral Body Slam damage. So Alolan Ninetales definitely a force to be reckoned with. And actually going straight for the nuke here, going straight for the Dazzling Gleam. It is going to hurt, and does let it go through, and brings it down to the relatively sort of middle yellow. I was going to call it low yellow, but it isn't quite that far. Going for the Body Slam though, there are still 2 shields up on Ric Flareon's side. And remember, there is an Umbreon in the back. Umbreon is not going to be doing very well up against the Charm. Oh wait, this is a Powder Snow Ninetales. I'm a fool. I'm a fool, chat. This is a Powder Snow Alolan Ninetales. So actually, Umbreon isn't in as much danger as it would have been otherwise, and can do quite well. So Dr. Trotter isn't actually going to be quite so panicked here. Doesn't like, if it was Charm, you might feel panicked to burn the shield here so you can get up to the Body Slam and make sure that you win switch here. But actually, Dr. Trotter is going to keep his Lickitung alive, get a few extra licks before throwing the Body Slam here, getting this last shield from Ric Flareon. Ric Flareon really wants to get his Ninetales onto that Umbreon in the back where he can try and throw a Dazzling Gleam. And he's getting a lot of energy here. This is actually looking really dangerous. He's got the Dazzling Gleam. Oh my gosh, he stocked it up before swapping out into the Lantern. This could be a late game disaster for Dr. Trotter. We're seeing the Surf come through. Again, Umbreon, an absolutely bulky Pokemon, plus Lantern having a relatively low attack stat as well. So he's going to tank that quite nicely. We've got the Surf coming in. No, we've got the Foul Play coming in, sorry. The Ric Flair on screen being just that like a little bit off kilter. Oh no, it's resynced. There you go. It's resynced. Now I've got Umbreon coming in. This Surf going to come through again. Umbreon is going to be able to tank it fine, but we are getting to the point that Dazzling Gleam that is just waiting in the wings on that Alolan Ninetale is going to be really devastating. I mean, look how low this health is. It is not going to survive a Dazzling Gleam. So all Ric Flareon really needs to do is just wait out the clock and make sure that he can sort of, at the very least, win a CMP tie, because Alolan Ninetales will win CMP At this point, I think Umbreon is so low that it could potentially just powder snow down. Like, I don't even think you need the charge move. Because there is still a little bit of a Lickitung as well, maybe we see a Weather Ball get thrown instead. Yep, here comes the Weather Ball. We see the catch onto Lickitung. Okay, this actually could be something here because Umbreon still has a little bit of energy here. And I don't think along the Ninetales is quite at the back-to-back. Here's the foul play, and oh no, it is the CMP tie. Dr. Trotter really did play that as well as he could. He did everything he had to at the end there to try and get that win con, but unfortunately, that Alolan Ninetales just had too much health there and was able to take out... We've got Triple Crit has also taken out Stumpy 25-17 with a 3-0. The two streamers left in the winners bracket getting taken out and sent to the elimination bracket for the next round. It looks like Mikey Morgs and Dennis and DJ Power and Murkrow Asylum do not have results yet, but I'm sure that'll start ticking away. Now, Dr. Trotter also being a lazy bum and not entering in his results. But we have also got in the Discord, Bandboss has mentioned that Ric Flair and a Triple Crit can just start thinking about their bans for the next round. So I guess we can actually just take a look at their teams in advance because... well, we know who will be watching are the grand finals of the Arena Australis Championship tournament. So let's go over here. Wee! Oh, we can do the wee! Ooh, wee! Ooh, I'm a ghost. Woo! Haunting the bracket. Okay, now we're here. So we've got Ric Flair's team on the right-hand side that we just saw. And now we've got Triple Crit showing off the Trevenant, the Shadow Swampert, the Lickitung, the Alolan Ninetales, the Shadow Drapion coming out, the Medicham, Bastiodon, and Altaria. Now, I have a feeling that we might see a similar case where Bastiodon just gets left alone and Bastiodon doesn't get a case to be used by Triple Crit. So already down to like 7 Pokemon in that regard. Now, does not have the Talonflame, so it's not going to be the same matchup that we just saw. It's not going to be the case where Lantern is this uber powerful thing that is the main counter to Talonflame and like even scares off Dr. Trotter from bringing Talonflame in both games 2 and 3. Lantern is still like going to be good, but Triple Crit has that Trevenant again. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean... I was going to say that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Ric Flair going ahead and banning the Trevenant again, as we saw in the last game. But I think that might have been a little bit more to do with the fact that it was because Lantern was so important that he was taking the Lantern counter off the table. But when you think about it a little bit more, I suppose, I mean, Trevenant is just in general quite a good Pokemon up against Ric Flair's team. I mean, doesn't care about the counter damage from either of the two counter uses while doing big super effective damage back to the Defense Deoxys. Obviously, you've got the neutral matchup with Trevenant versus Trevenant. Does okay up against Alolan Ninetales. We did see in the last game that Ric Flair against Dr. Trotter was deciding to run Powder Snow up against Dr. Trotter as opposed to the Charm that... Actually, have we even seen a Charm Ninetales? I don't think we've seen a Charm Ninetales yet. We've just seen them getting banned every round. Ban. But, as soon as one was sort of allowed to be used, it came out in that game 3 and revealed itself as a Powder Snowy Fox, ready to ice away on something, ice pun, frozen, let it go. Now, I've got the Beedrill coming in as well, which does actually do pretty decent up against the Trevenant, although Trevenant kind of still has a lot of play there. Like, if Trevenant lands a Shadow Ball up against a Shadow Beedrill doesn't have a smile on its face. Like, it does not love that at all. And then Lantern, obviously, the thing that it's mainly countering. And then you've got Altaria as the sort of main counter to the Trevenant, and then the Galarian Stunfisk as well. Looking a little bit more at Triple Crit's team, because Bastiodon is sort of gonna have to be left at home, like, he's not gonna want to have to use it. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the Altaria get banned from Ric Flairion's side. And maybe both sides, maybe both Altarias get banned, just because, if Alolan Ninetales was to be banned, I guess there's still Galarian Stunfisk on Ric Flairion's side. He definitely still has a little bit of play there. But I don't know, could go either way. I think that Lantern is still... I don't think Lantern is going to get used to all 3 games, but I think that Lantern is going to make an appearance, just because it is quite strong. And I don't really know... I guess it depends on the bans, but Shadow Swampert could have a place or it could not have a place, depending on what gets banned. For example, like, if Trevenant gets banned from Triple Crit side, for example, and Triple really needs to sort of have something to counter that Lantern, then as well as potentially bringing in the Lickitung as that sort of just bulky factor that can do quite well against a lot of things, then you've also got the, the water ground type that it's not as good against Lantern as it used to be, like buff to Lantern with giving access to Surf. When it was just Thunderbolt Hydro Pump, Swampert was pretty much a dominating force there. But then Dr. Troll coming in, yeah, that was no fun. It was a lot of fun watching you get destroyed, Trotter. Tons of fun. But not out of it yet. Still hanging out to see what does come up out in the elimination bracket. Or secondary bracket, as Sylph calls it, or losers bracket, as Play Pokemon calls it, which I think is a little bit funny that they've just like gone all in and calling it the losers bracket. It's like loser. I don't know. I know that it's like technically correct that it's like, it's the people who have lost one, but I don't know. It seems weird that the official terminology from the Pokemon company, Play Pokemon, is losers bracket. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, hey, who am I? We must change it to elimination bracket now. Or no, I actually don't like secondary bracket either. It doesn't really explain what it is. It makes it sound like there's two brackets going on simultaneously, which isn't the case. So I think elimination bracket is probably like the best way. We all spend a bit of time in the losers bracket every now and then. Such is life. Such is life. Yeah. Second chance bracket? Yeah, that's actually, I think that's probably more accurate than secondary bracket still. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I think elimination bracket is at the top of my, this is what it should be called. And that is, look, it's not a hill that I'll die on, but it is a hill that I'll, talk from. I'll go visit. Just say, hey, this is a pretty cool hill. So check it out, everyone. Sylph and Play Pokemon included. But regardless, looks like we are actually, we can bring the results back up. What am I doing? We can bring the results back up. Oh wait, Dr. Trotter, what are you doing in the chat? Go and enter your result on Sylph. I just call it top cut, bottom cut. That works as well. I guess, well, they use top cut specifically for the terminology of the move from day 1 to day 2. It's like I've reached top cut means that you're in that top 8 that gets to go on to day 2 when things go like on time and there's enough people. Whenever I'm in it, it's definitely the losers bracket. But I like elimination and second chance bracket. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Nick Ress with the rate of 103. Welcome in all. I guess we'll read the intro. We are doing the Australis Shield Championship, which is essentially just putting the best of the best in Australia up against each other in the Sylph Continentals meta to find out who is the best battler of them all. We are actually just at the winners bracket final. So this is a second double elimination bracket. So these two are the last two undefeated, and only one of them is going to stay that way after this best of 3. Now it is a format where we have teams of 8. And each player then gets to ban 2 from the other side. And if you're unfamiliar with the Continentals meta, actually I'll bring it back up. We can bring the, where is it? One of these thingamajiggies. Where's that? Oh, there it is. Continentals meta. Whoop. Here's the Continentals meta. So essentially it was with the teams of 8, you had to have every Pokemon had to be unique typing wise. So if you brought an Umbreon, you couldn't bring another Dark type. If you brought Altaria, you can't bring another Flying type or another Dragon type. As well as that, you could only bring 2 monotypes onto your team. So if you bring Vigoroth, that's one of your monotype slots. If you bring Umbreon, that's your second slot, and every other Pokemon has to be a double typed Pokemon. So like Altaria with the Dragon and the Flying, which means you basically have to bring all typings except for 2. There's only 2 typings that you leave at home with this Continentals meta. But yeah, this is essentially going to be the best of the best in Australia facing off. Sort of a precursor to the Oceania International Championships coming up in about 5 months' time. We don't know the official date for it, but it should be fun regardless. Now, I'll just check. I mean, Bamboss, do you think that we could just have... I mean, are we going to wait for the round to officially start and not just get stuck doing things out of order and not doing a silly? Because we do know who's gonna come through. So I'm not sure. But how was your stream, Nikres? How was your stream? We will get into it soon enough. And the bans will come when they come. They're just looking at what they want to ban at the moment. But Shadow Drapion is a Pokemon that we haven't actually got to see in this tournament in action yet, and I think that it could potentially be an interesting one depending on what he decides to ban. If he bans, for example, the Beedrill to get rid of the Drill Run user, and then also bans the Lantern just because of that spammy Surf, I feel like Drapion could be in a pretty decent spot to do quite well, just because you've got the Crunch for the Trevenant and the Defense Deoxys, you've got the Aqua Tail for the Galarian Sunfisk. You've still got some play up against the Vigoroth, even though it's not like the best matchup in the entire world. And then you've also got, I guess, actually that's the other format thing for those who are just joining us, is that you can TM before the battle start. So you see your teams of 8, you ban 2, and then you are able to TM your Pokemon once you see the teams of 6, but then as soon as the battle start, you cannot burn another one. And actually, while we're sort of in this waiting period, I will make this one announcement that probably could have been announced at the start of the stream. But historically, what we've done in these Australis Shields is that if you win, you get your name put on the famous Australis Shield. This time, there is no shield. We're going beyond the shield. Beyond the shield? What could be beyond the shield, you may ask? Well, this time, you are going to get, if you win, which... there's only a few people left in this tournament. It is double elimination. They are dropping off for sure. We're going to see. Whoa, whoa, look at that crazy transition. Is that the Nibennett Trophy? With so many little plaques ready to go for like so many years of this tournament. 100 years Rick and Morty. We've got this thing going forever. Now, Nibennett, for those who aren't familiar, is an absolute legend from the Australian community who has done a ton of 3D printing work with regards to making a bunch of badges, made a lot of Australis Shield medals that we were able to sort of have presented during the Melbourne Play Pokemon tournament that were a lot of fun. I do actually still have gyms here. Well, it's inside. I could go run out and get it, but I won't do that. Actually, maybe I should do that. I don't know. What do we think, chat? I'll be gone for a full 90 seconds, but I will come back with a 3D printed Australis Shield medal that Jim did earn that we haven't seen each other yet, so I haven't given it to him. I swear I'll give it to him one day, Nibennett. I promise. But yeah, Nibennett is yeah. If you knew you could win a trophy, you would have played better for sure. Yeah, just come over, Jim. Just come over. It's just sitting here. I should have messaged you at some point, I imagine. But, oh well. Yeah, and Mikey Morg still got the Season 3 pack. Show me my... Okay, I'll be right back. Don't burn things down without me. 90-second countdown, go! Wow, we made it. Okay. We have... Actually, we'll make camera bigger. How do we do that? We make copy and then paste, and then I'm puffed because I ran. Whoa! It's a 3D printed medal because he won the Guardian Cup Australis Shield. How cool is that? But yeah, I'm keeping it. So sorry, Jim. This is mine now. Woo! Look at me. But yeah, Nibennett is an absolute hero. So put that back on screen. So yeah, this will be coming soon, and it will last forever. Incoming Russian hack activated. 50 seconds. Thanks for timing, Eve. Okay, where are we up to as far as the bracket progressing on? Oh, so we have officially moved on to the bracket, and we have the battlers lining up their screens as well. Okay, so as soon as I was about to make a very poor mistake. As soon as Triple Crit shares his screen, we'll be able to sort of jump back in. But in the meantime, I'll bring the teams back up so we can start to look at it before, as they sort of lock into their invites as we get into these finals here. Okay, so, actually, do we have bans yet? Okay, yes, Rick Flareon has banned Trevenant and Lickitung. So Trevenant and Lickitung have been banned. Click. Wait, who banned that? Okay, Trevenant and Lickitung are banned on Triple Crit side. And Triple Crit has banned Galarian Stunfisk and Beedrill. So Galarian Stunfisk and Beedrill are Gonski. Okay, so what we have left, we have triple crit with the Shadow Swampert, Alolan Ninetales, Shadow Drapion, Metacham, Bastiodon, and Altaria, and the Rick Flareon with his Vigoroth, the Trevenant, Defense Deoxys, Alolan Ninetales, Lantern, and Altaria. So running with the double counter users still, and as we said before, I don't think that Bastiodon has much of a chance of coming out. There is the Altaria there, but I think that Alolan Ninetales is sort of more likely to be the sort of winning measure here. And I think that's what Triple Crit has gone for. Triple Crit has tried to protect the Alolan Ninetales by banning the big counter of the Poison type Beedrill, and then also banning the Steel Rock Galarian Stunfisk. So, Steel Ground, sorry, Galarian Stunfisk. That's the second time I've made that mistake on this stream. But really, outside of that, like, there's nothing that really hard counters the Alolan Ninetales. I think that it's probably going to be a case where it then forces Rick Flareon to bring out his own Alolan Ninetales, and then we might see, you know, Cascade with then Shadow Drapion comes out from Triple Crit, and then, you know, that also counters the Defense Deoxys and the Trevenant. Then maybe we see Lantern come out to try and counter that. It is going to be definitely a fun one. Okay, both battlers have officially started sharing their screens, so we'll get that all plugged in here. Boom, boom, boom. Click on grid. Okay, we are actually going to flip it over. So, actually, can we force it so that we don't have to flip it over? I wonder. If we stop watching this and then we add Rick Flareon. Oh, dang it. No, we will have to flip it over. Okay. Flip. Okay. Right player is now going to be Triple Crit. And now this is going to be... This is a very formal stream, by the way, as everyone can tell. Right stream is going to be Triple Team over there. And then this is going to be Rick Flareon's. Okay, there's Rick Flareon. And then we need to move the bands over. So that goes there. That goes there. That goes there. And that goes there. And now, wow, it's fixed. How awesome is that? Okay, so now we can put up their phone screen diddly-dings. And I think we are just about good to go. Okay, so I'll let them know. At Rick Flareon, at Triple, you can start when ready. Smiley face. Okay. So, predictions as to what we're going to be seeing. Oh yeah, this is he does high quality work. This this is some real official stuff here. Okay, I have a feeling that we're going to see both Alolan Ninetales. Like, you know, again, not a betting man, but hey, I have a feeling that we're going to see both of them come through. I do have a feeling that we are going to see the Drapion potentially come on out from Triple Crit. So I'd actually just confused myself because I was like, wait, but the Drapion was there. Why isn't it there anymore? Because we flipped it. I'm with it. I'm hip. I know what's going on, guys. I know what's going on. This is just continuation of the high quality stuff. Okay, they're currently picking their teams, so we are just about to jump into it. We'll see what we do end up getting. This is, again, this is the grand finals of the winners bracket. So one person will go through to the grand finals, and then the other person will get their chance in the elimination bracket to still sort of have a chance to sort of survive along and potentially come back for a rematch going to the finals. We've got one player has locked in their team. We're just waiting for the other player to lock in, and then we will be good to go as we jump in to the final set of the winners bracket. Any second now. There we go. Okay, we are jumping into it. Oopsies, that's a little bit out of whack there. We can fix it before it starts, I'm sure. Speed round. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, we've got the Trevenant coming into the Altaria with Rick Flareon's Trevenant not in a great position here. As we said before, Shadow Ball definitely is a move that can do a lot of damage to pretty much everything. So it looks like we're going to go for the Shadow Ball, try and do a bit of damage, and then potentially just duck and run away. It isn't the Dragon Breaths that are doing the big damage to Trevenant, but it's actually the Sky Attack threat. So actually, we are going to see that quick swap out into the Vigoroth. So Altaria still has a ton of energy here. Actually going to go for the Moonblast. I'm pretty sure that Sky Attack is the more efficient move here to go for. So interesting going for the Moonblast, and got shielded. It's really unfortunate for the Altaria there. And now, like, this is a point where Altaria may not be able to get another move off. So that's really unfortunate for Triple Crit. almost certainly would have been able to get a sky attack off there, which is definitely unfortunate, but it is what it is. And now at this point, brings in the Alolan Ninetales just to sort of do a little bit of potentially a better job up against that Vigoroth. We can see that Rick Flareon's Altaria is just waiting in the wings in the back and is probably very happy that it doesn't have to face off up against this Alolan Ninetales. So Rick Flareon is going to do everything he can to make sure that the alignment does not go in that direction. As soon as this Vigoroth goes down, it's going to be Trevenant coming in to try and just clean up the job before Altaria would have to come out and sort it. Luckily though, Triple Crit does let that Body Slam go through, bringing it quite low before charming all the way down. A lot of energy here on Triple Crit's Alolan Ninetales, so this Trevenant is still going to have to be scared about Ice Weather Ball. It's really going to hurt quite a bit, so Trevenant shielding up again. Rick Flareon really needs as much health on that Altaria as possible. Because actually, here's a swap out into the Drapion on Triple Crit side. So get a little bit more energy on the Trevenant before swapping out into the Altaria. This Shadow Drapion doesn't really have anything like hugely dangerous for the Altaria, but with the Shadow bonus, it's just able to really put on the hurt with these crunches, able to try and get that defense debuff going. Didn't get on that first one, but now going to see a Sky Attack come through from the Altaria. Not yet, though, interestingly. Just farming up extra energy. Not that a Sky Attack would have been enough to take out the Drapion. But regardless, this crunch is going to go through. Altaria is hanging on by a thread. And he's going for the... I'll charge up to the Moonblast again and gone for the Sky Attack. Maybe trying to fake that they've got Moonblast Dragon Pulse or something. I'm not sure here, but does get the shield out of that Drapion and is now presumably going to get Poison Stinked down, which is so sad. That is so rough for Rick Flareon there. And here comes the Trevenant and is going to get taken down by this crunch from the Drapion. So really, really well played from Triple Crit from start to finish. Able to get everything to work out, even though the alignment didn't quite go in like the best case scenario that he was sort of potentially hoping for. A little bit of a weird situation in that I actually can't adjust the video borders and stuff without it being on screen for some reason. So I'll just have to fix it on the fly once again. And once we jump into battle number 2. But this is sort of the first time that we've seen Rick Flareon falter. We've obviously been following Rick Flareon for the last 2 rounds as the sort of highest seeded battler in this tournament overall, after getting the bye in the first round. So we've actually seen every battle that Rick Flareon has done in this tournament. But now Triple Crit is sort of coming in as the sort of the unknown quantity that is performing incredibly well for sure, and is definitely giving Rick Flareon a run for his money. I think that we're definitely going to have to see an adjustment coming in from Rick Flareon, because that just didn't quite work for him. Potentially you could bring in a fighter, bring in either you could bring in the Deoxys and try and go for that double counter strat that we saw earlier with the Deoxys and the Vigoroth. Because again, there's not really anything that is like destroying that strategy on Triple Crit's side, especially now that the Trevenant and Lickitung are sort of out of the picture. Trevenant would have been the sort of real main counter to the double counter strat, I think. The counter, double counter. But I think that with that gone, there's a little bit more room for a potential resurgence of that strategy that we saw work quite well for Rick Flareon a little bit earlier. I mean, the double counter user strat was working with that Lantern as the sort of backing force. I'm not sure what you would bring as the backing force this time around. I guess you would be a little bit scared of the Altaria, so potentially you bring in the Alolan Ninetales as the sort of bodyguard to the double counter users. You can then run it as sort of an ABB line or a very risky BAB. Potentially you use Vigoroth as the sort of lead man, and then just try and like body slam, neutral damage, whatever sort of comes in. Because there's nothing left on Triple Crit's side that doesn't care about any of the moves from Vigoroth. So regardless of what it is, like you'd still be able to do an amount of work to it. Whether it's like even Altaria, you're doing a fair amount of damage with the body slams just adding up, even though the counters are resisted. So I'll be interested to see what they do end up deciding to bring. As far as Triple Crit is concerned, I think that the Drapion was a really nice, it worked really nicely for him. I think that he definitely played really well. Could potentially go in with the same line, because it was sort of a little bit reliant on how he decided to play it a little bit, as opposed to like a hard rock, paper, scissors sort of format. So we'll see what he does decide to bring in. Looks like we have one battler locked in, the other battler just still considering what they do want to bring in. The one game could put someone into the grand finals. Actually, yeah, Triple Crit from Mikey Morgs is number 2 on the Aussie leaderboard as well. Did you just Rick Surgence? Did I just Resurgence? I mean, there could be a Resurgence, but I don't know what that sentence in particular means. I'm not sure. But yeah, these two are basically titans of the Australian PvP scene. They definitely both know what they're doing, and either one of them could take this entire tournament out. And this is pretty much what we've seen with neither of these battlers being able to be taken out in a best of 3, only when being put against each other as the last 2 undefeated battlers in the tournament to finally see some action start to happen. Although I say that, and you know, I'm watching one screen that is not picking a team, so as far as like action happening. Okay, here we go. We are jumping into it now. Okay, and we'll do a quick little increase the height, yeah, and then increase the. Okay, we've got Deoxys into the Altaria from Triple Crit side. So this is not a terrible spot for the Altaria because this Deoxys is not actually running Rock Slide. We have Thunderbolt, a Psycho Boost. Thunderbolt is only doing neutral damage because of the Dragon typing on Altaria, so not ideal here, but we'll see how it does play out. Going for the Sky Attack on the Deoxys. Obviously, Triple Crit would still be scared of a Rock Slide, so he's still likely to shield if he would shield a Rock Slide regardless. But a Thunderbolt still does hurt. Like, it does do... It's not a nothing amount of damage, but it's not as much as you'd like from a move that costs as much energy as it does. Now, Deoxy's getting very low here as we see the Psycho Boost being thrown. We'll see if Triple Crit decides to burn the shield here to protect itself. And no, going to let the Psycho Boost come through. We see the attack debuff on the Deoxys before getting Dragon Breath all the way down with a charge move ready to go on this Altaria. And neither of these Pokemon from Rick Flareon want to see a charge move. If Altaria comes in, there is a Moonblast just waiting for it. Oh, wait, we saw it. Oh, no, we did see a quick tap on the Moonblast. This is definitely going to hurt. Rick Flareon needs to shield here. It does shield up and going to keep that alive. A couple more Dragon Breaths and a Triple Crits. Altaria is going to go down. And at this point, I'm going to bring in that Alola Ninetales with Charm that is absolutely wrecking. So we see the swap into Vigoroth. And we see Triple Crit has the Drapion in the back that isn't going to love the Vigoroth matchup either. Although I would sort of expect that you would keep Alola Ninetales a little bit healthier and leave it for the Altaria matchup. But we are going to see the Drapion just hang in there. Maybe, okay, we see after throwing the one move, burning that last shield out of the Vigoroth brings in the Drapion. Does have a lot of energy here. Going to go for the Body Slam to try and get a little bit of, potentially get a shield. No shield. Is going to, Triple Crit does recognize that Alola Ninetales is sort of the main Pokemon that is really important to keep healthy. Alola Ninetales is the one that needs to just demolish, take out the Altaria, and can take out whatever is remaining of this Vigoroth when this Drapion does go down. Although in saying that, does burn the shield on that Drapion to just make sure that it can get to this charge move, which could potentially give Rick Flareon an opening, because now Altaria is going to be able to come in, farm up a little bit of energy on this Drapion, is going to have to eat a crunch, and so I guess he's going to hope that there is no defense debuff, because that would be absolutely devastating for Rick Flareon. The charms would just do so much damage at that point. And we do not see the defense debuff, so that is definitely a good thing for Rick Flareon. Dragon Breath's all the way down. We've got a ton of energy here. There is still one shield on the Alola Ninetales side, so it has to get one Sky Attack through to get the shield, and then needs to throw another move to KO. I don't think that a Sky Attack is going to be enough, so I think needs to get a Moonblast off to try and do enough to take out this Alola Ninetales. But unfortunately for Rick Flareon, Triple Crit takes it out and takes out the finals of the winners bracket. So really well played from both battlers. It does mean that Triple Crit is going to be going ahead as the last undefeated player into the grand finals, and Rick Flareon will be reporting to the elimination bracket to sort of go from there and see what he can fish out. But still really good playing there. Who needs double counter when you can have triple counter? That's definitely a strategy that we haven't seen more than once come through. Well, maybe not on the battlefield, but when you're in a Band 2 format, it definitely can do quite decent there. Now, we are going to be, even though we have just seen Triple Crit take down Rick Flareon, we are still going to watch our battle number 3 for the glory, for the champion, to see what we can get going on here. And then we'll go back and take a look at how the elimination bracket has been progressing on as we've been following along the winners bracket. Now, I think that Alola Ninetales landing on that Altaria just really sealed the deal. Like, Alola Ninetales, such a powerful Pokemon for Rick Flareon to not really have an answer left after both of his counters being banned. And it's something that's really hard to actually prepare for when you like, okay, I've built this team. I have 2 good counters for Alolan Ninetales plus the mirror. But then your 2 counters get banned. And it's like, so do I have to play this game of like just trying to land the mirror on the mirror and then playing it out from there? It puts you in a really difficult situation and isn't one that you get put into very often. It's used very rarely in the Silph Arena. It was used for Continentals it was used for Worlds last year, not for Continentals. And then it was used for Continentals this year and is going to be used for the Worlds format as well. Oh, actually, I think it's not being used for the Worlds prelims format. I think it's being used for the Worlds finals. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I know that I was announced as hosting it, but I'm not certain. But it looks like we are jumping in for game number 3. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. And we're jumping in for game 3 now. Eventually. I mean, they're both sitting there seemingly ready. But the game just doesn't want them to go yet. It's not ready. Oh wait, are they in different invites? I think they're in different invites. They're in different invites for sure. Someone tell them they're in different invites. I wonder if Rockslide would have made a difference. That's an interesting question. You potentially, if we saw Deoxys take out the Altaria and have a little bit more gusto, try and win switch advantage, I think that you might actually still be stuck. Because I think that Alolan Ninetales is just so strong when the 2 Pokemon you have left are Altaria and Vigoroth that there's not a lot you can do, especially when triple crit still like, even if you locked in the Vigoroth up against if you want switch advantage, you locked in your Vigoroth up against that Alolan Ninetales, you'd still be taking so much charm damage. Like, it would just be intense. You'd have to pay up your shields on the Ice Weather Balls. You wouldn't love the spot you're in. And you'd 2 shield force through, so you burn both of your shields on the Vigoroth matchup and just charm all the way down. And then Altaria could finish off the job and take out the Alolan Ninetales, but then you would still have to deal with the Shadow Drapion that would be able to get to charge moves quite quickly, and I think would still be able to seal the deal. So I think that game may have actually been a little bit stuck from the start, which in some senses is how it can go when you bring in those like sort of hard counter Pokemon, high risk, high reward, like Alolan Ninetales. It can do absolute wonders if you get it up against a fighter and an Altaria. But, you know, if you don't have that, if you're up against Beedrill and a Galarian Stunfisk, then you're up a creek. Like, there's not much you can actually do at that point. But, yeah, too charming. But it's sort of, it's an interesting consideration for sure. But I've got a tag. I've been tagged. I think Silph is trying to outdo Paper with how they do double elimination. Steve will confirm, but I believe the next set of battles will be streamed will come from the elimination bracket. That is correct. The seeding is a bit confusing, so pay attention each round to see how we go ahead with it. Okay, so there's stuff going on with the elimination bracket, but regardless, have I missed the start of battles yet? No, I haven't. Okay, we are actually about to jump in though, so this actually worked out. Oh no, they were still, yeah, okay. Someone needs to tell them that they aren't. Yep, they're finally backing out. Okay, so we'll get that off the screen. But they've finally worked out that they are not. Oh, maybe they haven't. Will be from elimination bracket. Rick, Flareon, Triple. You are in different invite screens. All right. The wave. I know there's all of the problems in the game at the moment with the sort of the stutter lag, the Android versus iPhone thing, but the problem with invites frustrates me to no end. It's incredibly annoying, especially when you sort of have so many tournaments going on, like when you're playing in the sort of Silph Arena, doing all of this sort of stuff. It's sort of like, it would just be nice for everything to work, obviously. That's the dream. One day we'll get there. They made Niantic made such an awesome change when they sort of corrected up the syncing so that we didn't see stuff like, APAC actually could compete. There wasn't sneaking moves anymore. It worked really nicely, like an amazing change. But gaming's been closing battles after every match as well today, and we've been re-inviting. Yeah, it's happened for me, because it happened for me in my factions match last night, but it doesn't seem to be happening for everyone. It's happening for some people. But also annoying, because then you have to re-invite, and then invites might not go through again, and then just frustrating. So frustrating. But regardless, it looks like we are finally both in the right invite screen now, and we're locking in the teams again, and we will be jumping in to game 3 of the winners grand finals here. So surely. There we go. Okay, we've got ourselves locked in. We'll see how we go in this last game. We'll see if Rick Flareon can turn the tides and get sort of the right Pokemon on that Alola Ninetales to sort of take it out a little bit nicer. Speaking of, triple crit, bringing it out from the get-go, putting the big charm pressure onto Rick Flareon. So we'll see how he does respond with the defense Deoxys coming through. And see, we've got the double counter Lantern strat. So we've actually returned to that earlier round strategy up against Dr. Trotter in the semi-finals. No Talonflame here, but still going to try his best. Now we're going to go for the Thunderbolt again. Again, this is sort of like, you wish you had Rock Slide, because Rock Slide would be super effective, whereas the Thunderbolt is not. Still does a sizable amount of damage and forces that shield out of triple crit, or gets the shield out of triple crit. But now we're going to see that Ice Weather Ball come through and actually get a shield out of Defense Deoxys as well. I think potentially Rick Flareon, recognizing how strong this Alola Ninetales is and just trying to make sure he can get rid of it as soon as possible. Really nice counting of the charge moves, making sure that he throws the Psycho Boost right before Alola Ninetales would be able to get this Ice Weather Ball off, but actually didn't tap it. Going to try and Charm all the way down, but we do, unfortunately, for triple crit, see another Psycho Boost coming through. Attack has been debuffed, so it's not going to do as much, and Alola Ninetales is going to be able to survive there, and one more Charm takes out the Defense Deoxys. We're going to see the Lantern come in here, and Alola Ninetales throwing that resisted Ice Weather Ball. Not going to do very much damage, but to be honest, this Ninetales is pretty much done from this battle entirely. So we're going to see a couple Charms come through, but just get Water Gun down. And at this point, not going to bring in the Bastiodon, because that would be just a death wish up against this Surf Water Gun Lantern. And triple crit putting in the Shadow Drapion up against this Lantern. Really important for triple crit to take this Lantern out as soon as possible. He does not want this Lantern to land up on his Bastiodon. Throws the Crunch. No defense debuff. We have not seen a defense debuff in the last 4 crunches. This is really unfortunate for triple crit. Does have to eat a Surf there, and is only 1 Surf away from being KO'd. And I think the Lantern might outpace here. No, oh my gosh. The slight desync in the videos is throwing me off, but does get the Surf off. That is going to mean this Lantern, even though it's not on much health, is going to be putting a little bit of Water Gun damage. Not even any need. There is a Vigoroth just waiting to take on this Bastiodon. The Wall Face himself just running away, just going like this, as he keeps getting beaten up in the face by Vigoroth. Is just not good. It goes for the Bulldoze, but yeah, triple crit knows this is over, but regardless, does still take out the winners final with a 2-1. So still really well done. Really, really well done from both battlers. Good, nice and close that Rick Flareon was still able to get that one win through. But we are now going to see how he does face off in the elimination bracket as he tries to catch back up for triple crit for the Revenge Saga, the Retribution, the Take 2. See how we can Electric Boogaloo. But let's jump over to the bracket and see what we've got going on so far. Oh, I didn't whoop it properly. There we go. Proper whoop. Okay. Okay, so now we've got Debbie with the sub as well. Big love, Debbie, and cannot wait to see you. I hope in Singapore, but not confirmed yet. But definitely OCIC. But hopefully before. Or I'll just come to Western Australia. That's also not off the cards. Okay, but we've got Dr. Trotter getting the bye in this first round when he got sent down to the elimination bracket from Rick Flareon. Stumpy taking on Achilles Hero and getting the 3-0. DJ Power also getting the bye, and we still have Dank Brode taking on Dennis to see who does progress on to the next round of the elimination bracket. And then Rick Flareon will be coming down to join them. I'm not sure how this is actually going to work out. Because this is a bracket of 12, it's a little bit like the numbers don't quite work out. So I have a feeling that something hecky's going to go on in this next round. Ooh, spooky. Oh. Okay, so we've got Stumpy's team on the left-hand side with the Cresselia, the Trevenant, the Lickitung, Tapu Fini, Scrafty, Macargo, Altaria, and Stunfisk. So many Pokemon here that we have not got a chance to see yet. So I'm pretty hyped that we do get the chance now. And then DJ Power, we have the Vigoroth, the Sableye, Defense Deoxys, Alola Ninetales, Shadow Dragonite, Lantern, Toxicroak, and Galarian Stunfisk. So, excuse me. We did see DJ Power a little bit earlier up against Rick Flareon back in the winners quarterfinals. I think so. Yeah, winners quarterfinals up against Rick Flareon, and Rick Flareon was able to take that one out 2-1. And so DJ Power is coming back this time up against Stumpy. Stumpy's got a very interesting team, and I'm really excited to see it. I'm unfortunately feeling like Macargo might not get to come out because I feel like Macargo has... Maybe if there was an Altaria on the team, and then you'd have like an Alola Ninetales and an Altaria and a G-Fisk that you could target, it could make some sense. But when you're up against a triple counter user team without Altaria, I don't know. Like, you've got Shadow Dragonite, I suppose. But still, triple counter. You can ban 2 of them, and then you still have to face 1. Definitely you wouldn't want Toxicroak because it has Mud Bomb that would do super effective. I guess you'd want Deoxys? I guess? I don't know. I mean, Vigoroth would get charge moves off more often. And it's got access to Bulldoze, which even though it sucks, would still really hurt. So I guess, yeah, you'd ban Vigoroth and Toxicroak if you really want to run Macargo. But I don't know if that is really the case. Oop, I've been tagged. Okay, I'm going to make an executive decision here and put the tournament on pause after this round. We do it like play Pokemon and do a second day when all remaining participants... Okay, so there's a chance here that we... this is the last battle that we see. And then we'll pick it up another day. But we'll see how this... Sorry, just looking at thoughts here. So some people are like, yeah, they could play better. Some people are like, okay, there's a thought of pausing for 45 to an hour and then just figure it out. Macargo getting banned. Triple counter, G-Fisk and lit. Yeah, that's right, Stumpy. Take it as a challenge. Please run Macargo. Please. Okay, we do have the bans though. DJ has gone ahead and banned Cresselia and Trevenant. Has left left Macargo right open. How crazy. Okay, Cresselia and Trevenant banned. And then Stumpy has decided to ban Toxicroak and Vigoroth. Oh my gosh, is it happening? Is this happening? Are we getting a Macargo? I'm really hoping that we see a Macargo here, Stumpy. Okay. Officially calling it though, this is going to be the final battle that we see on stream for now, and then I'll go, have dinner and make that delivery you have to make. But yeah, just while we're sort of still waiting for all the battles to sort of get sorted out, I really do appreciate everyone for sort of coming around and sticking it through some of the issues that we've had with the Sylph bracket, and also just getting started in the first place. But no, I really appreciate everyone for sticking around, because this is like the best part of the game in my mind. Just sort of getting to hang out and watch people battle. And as predicted, we do actually have to flip the script. DJ Power is going to be on the left. So, right team meet left team. Left team meet right team. We've got Stumpy is going to be on the right. We've got DJ is going to be on the left. We've got This has got to swap with this. Has got to swap with this. And then we have to move the bands over here. And then over here. Great success. Alrighty. Okay, and they're sending the invite and we'll be ready to go momentarily. Okay, maybe just get the phone screens actually sorted because I didn't actually do that bit. Whoop. Okay, but yeah, as I was saying before, I really do appreciate everyone sort of coming out because it's just kind of fun to hang out. And also, it's like, I think having a stream makes these chaotic moments a lot more sort of bearable because it's like, it becomes funny. I'm sure that, you know, the battle, like I appreciate the battle is sort of sticking it out as well. Oh my, I think I just broke something. Uh-oh. What happens if I cut? Okay, I didn't break anything. Cut, get it off. Shoo. I thought I broke it, but I didn't. I hit the undo button. Macario Strip, gonna stream part 2 later. That is a good question. It's presently unclear whether it's gonna pick back up tonight or not. But I'm not sure. We will find out together. If I'm here, I'm here. If I'm not, then I guess I'm not. But regardless, well, I'll go. I can get dinner and the delivery done in an hour, probably. I mean, it's possible that like maybe I miss the next round and then I'm sort of back streaming again for the losers finals, potentially. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. Regardless, appreciate everyone for being. We'll raid off as well. Like we won't just put a timer on and make everyone wait. We will raid away. Okay. Just gonna get all of that. Okay, so with Stumpy's locked in, just waiting for DJ to lock in. I didn't see what Stumpy locked in, but you know what I'm hoping for, chat. You know what I'm hoping for. And I'm hoping that the call of challenge, the call for adventure has been answered. Oh, I really want to see Macago, even though it is, as our favorite ninja said, in shambles. Here we go. We're locking in. Click. Just he hasn't tapped the button, but it's there. Boop. Boop boop. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we are jumping in for battle numero uno on this. I don't know what round this is in the elimination bracket, but there are 5 people left in it. I guess it's top 6 in the whole tournament. But we have DJ Power coming in with the Alolan Ninetales coming into the Galarian Stunfisk. Not a good start for DJ at all. So we see the instant swap out into the Defense Deoxys. Defense Deoxys definitely not in a bad spot up against this Galarian Stunfisk. Can take quite a few hits along the way. But that Stumpy G-Fisk is going straight for the Earthquake, and DJ is not going to shield. It is definitely going to hurt here, but Deoxys is bulky and is going to hang on there. Here comes Tapu Fini, a Pokemon we have not got to see this entire stream, but we are finally going to get the action here. No Thunderbolt this time, would have been really lovely from that last game from Reclarion, but does get the shield regardless from the Tapu Fini, so really nice bait there from DJ. Seeing Stumpy just almost take out that Defense Deoxys, but one more Rock Slide going to come through, but Stumpy now is sort of confident that it is just going to be a Rock Slide, a Psycho Boost Deoxys, so lets it go. At this point, I guess you can kind of go either way, bringing in the Sableye or the Alolan Ninetales. I'm not sure what that sort of stutter was, but we saw Alolan Ninetales coming in to the Moonblast coming in from the Tapu Fini, which will do a reasonable amount of damage, brings it down to about 1/3 of a health before swapping out into the Sableye. And we can actually see on Stumpy's back line that there is a Macago just hanging out there, ready to come to play. But actually getting another shield out of DJ Power. Really nice bait with the Surf here. And then Sableye going to be able to charge up a little bit more energy. Here comes the G-Fisk. G-Fisk sort of not in an awesome spot here because these foul plays are going to hurt. Looks like that was a CMP tie, so the Rock Slide is going to come through after this foul play. G-Fisk is going to be able to survive here. All goodzos. And then here comes the Rock Slide. Also isn't going to take out Sableye and didn't have enough energy for the Earthquake either. So if DJ's been counting, he'll know that was not an Earthquake. And then I guess Sableye farms up a little bit more energy, throws the foul play before G-Fisk can get to another Rock Slide. G-Fisk is just going to let this go. And then, is it Makago time? Is it Makago hour? Is it Makago's farming time? It is Makago's farming time. Here comes some Incinerates. Sableye does get a little bit of energy before swapping out into a Alola Ninetales. Maybe trying to catch a move there, but instead has just given Makago even more farm. Makago loving life right now. Sableye on not much health at all. Getting this last shield with a Rock Tomb, which is going to give a debuff to that Sableye. This is actually looking like it could be Makago's potentially. But we are going to see this last shield potentially come up. No, actually going to let this come through. Makago, I think, will be able to tank this foul play. But it is going to bring it down relatively low here. Not going to be able to incinerate down before another foul play comes through, I don't think. Oh, no, we do see it go through. Oh. Was that... I'm not sure what happened there. But it looks like Makago has won the game. Is that what I'm hearing? Is this Makago hype in the chat? Let's go, Makago. Oh, that's awesome. No matter the result, it's awesome to see. And again, unfortunately, it looks like we've lost the invite, so we'll have to re-invite, which is still an annoying bug. Looks like DJ is still in the. Just because I know better, I'm just going to say, okay, Stumpy's already said sending DJ. Okay. Let's see how we do. Let's see how we do, chat. Oh, there was a shield. Okay. Gotcha. I'm with it. I'm hip. I'm hop. I'm hipping in the hip hop that don't stop. Okay, we've got one team locked in, and then we're just waiting on the other team to, let's just say, figure out how Makago is going to fit in. Stumpy said in the Australis Shield chat that he sort of felt like he was going to get stomped by DJ. And potentially that was because, there are all those counter users. There's the Lantern. There's everything stacked against this Makago. But Makago knows better. Maybe DJ just went gentleman's agreement, shook hands and went, you know what? I'm going to give Makago a chance. I'm going to bring Alola Ninetales in. I'm going to bring G-Fisk in. Tapu Fini was around as well, but on the other team, so that was all fine. Sableye wasn't as much of a gimme, I suppose. But regardless, oh my gosh, look at that. That is an awesome slug remote. I need a sub to our queen instantly. I'll add that to the to-do list. Oh, get Dins, make the delivery, sub to queen. Also, I apologize to everyone for sucking at Twitch. So I don't know how shoutouts work. But I can totally figure it out. It's totally... Is it exclamation mark or is it slash? I don't know. Do I have to do an @ or do I not do an @ What does that do? Nothing. Okay. What if I do a slash? Unrecognized command. It looks like you have to actually manually set up shoutouts. There you go. The things you learn, huh? Oh well. Maybe next time. Exclamation mark chicken sandwich. I wouldn't mind. I'm very hungry. Don't go talking about food to me. Don't go talking about food. Okay, but how are we gonna adjust going forward here? I think that I wouldn't be surprised if, I think the Lantern has to come out from DJ Power, because not only is it good against that Makago, it's also good up against that Tapu Fini that we saw come out, and is also good against G-Fisk. I think Lantern is the must-bring pick for DJ. Looks like we are thinking about locking in, and we are locking in now. Oh, oopsies. Click, and there's some battles. Twitch is much better than YouTube for this, though. Yeah, for sure. Oh, stop it, Evo. We've got Alola Ninetales coming in against a Scrafty. What a lead for DJ. This is not what Stumpy wants to see at all. The swap out into Tapu Fini comes in, but DJ has not brought in the Lantern. Brings in the Sableye, but those Moonblasts are going to come out relatively fast. This is a really scary spot for DJ to be in. Gonna go for the bait, does successfully get a shield out of DJ. The bad is not getting better for DJ Power at all. Now gonna have to throw just bulk charge moves at this Tapu Fini. No need to go for the return, just gonna go for the back-to-back foul play instead. It looked like that might have been a CMP tie from a Surf from Tapu Fini. We'll see if it does end up going through after this shield. And it looks like it did not, but actually it didn't go for the back-to-back foul play either. So just going to go straight for that surf, see if we get the last shield out of DJ, and we do, which does mean that DJ is now going to have the opportunity to farm up a little bit more energy, farm up to the back-to-back. Oh, no, does not get there in time. The surf is going to come off first and lose all of that energy from DJ. That is so unfortunate, but will at least give DJ the opportunity to get a little bit of farm on this G-Fisk, which, not actually... I think that DJ really wanted to win switch advantage so that he could keep the Alolan Ninetales on the Scrafty, because now he has the Galarian Stunfisk against one of its main counters, being that Scrafty. Scrafty is going to be adding up the fighting damage, boom, 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 on this G-Fisk as it goes. The Earthquake does do quite a lot. I'm not sure if that charm actually lands. It looks like it may have, but now here comes Makago to just absolutely demolish, just melt away this Alolan Ninetales. Look at its health just go down, and this Psyshock, like, it'll do some damage for sure, because Makago is not the bulkiest Pokemon in the world, but it can take it for sure and should be able to incinerate down here. Okay, gonna go for the Rock Tomb. Doesn't want to get hit by another Weather Ball and wants to be able to keep this Makago to get another Rock Tomb off on the back as well. So here comes back the Galarian Stunfisk, who doesn't love Makago either, going straight for what I think was an overheat there. This is going to absolutely just cook DJ power up, and I think this has actually solved us with a Makago taking out the full round. Makago 2-0, let's go! Look, I know, like, generally, as a caster, you don't want to be biased. It's not your intention to be biased. But when there's a Makago coming around against this stacked team, I just can't help it, guys. Makago is just... wow. That is some really, really solid playing there. We are now in the... what do we call this? Is it the semi-finals? Yeah, I guess it's the... well, it's not really the semi-finals, because it isn't like there's 4 people. It's not like a half split. We're fighting for second and third between Dank Broad and Rick Flareon. Now, Rick Flareon, we saw a little earlier in the hot seat versus Triple Crit in the winners finals. Did unfortunately go down, did go down to Triple Crit, who is definitely some really good battles though between the two of them. And now we have Dank Broad, whose team, we'll get right into it because they are locking in their teams and stuff. So on the left, we have Dank Broad's team, which had the Shadow Nidoqueen, which has been banned by Rick Flareon. We have the Sableye, Lickitung, Azumarill, Shadow Nidoqueen, Shadow Ninetales, a Medicham, Bastiodon, which has also been banned. Is that right? Did I click something incorrectly? I didn't think... yeah, no, that's not. It's Nidoqueen and Sableye that have been banned. Okay, so apparently I didn't do as good a job as I thought I did. Nidoqueen and... wait. Oh, I see the issue. I didn't actually hit the update button. But there we go. Now it's updated. My bad. Sorry, guys. So Nidoqueen and Sableye have both been banned, with Lickitung, Azumarill, and Ninetales, Medicham. Oh, and we are jumping straight into it with the Deoxys up against the Altaria. Unfortunately, it looks like we don't have Dank Broad's side of the screen, but we've got Deoxys coming in with the Rock Slides up against this Altaria. We're actually not running Psycho Boost, which I think is the first time we've seen that on a Deoxys this time around. So we'll just get that out of the way there. Now throwing another Rock Slide, which is going to do a nice chunk of damage to that Altaria. And again, a Deoxys being a really bulky Pokemon can definitely take those hits pretty well. And we've got Trevenant and Vigoroth in the back. So Rick Flareon has really returned again to his double counter user strategy. This time going with another sort of pivot Pokemon, I suppose you could call it, in bringing in the Trevenant. Now, Altaria burning one shield there is going to be able to Dragon Breath down the rest of this Deoxys. And then at this point... neither of these Pokemon is really great for Rick Flareon. Like, Rick Flareon does have the shield advantage, which does put him in a little bit of an okay spot in that he can shield up this first Sky Attack from Altaria now. But he's then going to really have to, like, put the pedal to the metal to get rid of his Altaria before he can throw another Sky Attack, or else Rick Flareon is going to have to burn another shield if he wants to keep this Trevenant around. Actually, instead, we're going to see a swap into Vigoroth to take the energy here. Getting a little bit of energy on Trevenant for later. Definitely a nice strategy there depending on what Dank Broad has decided to bring in. Catching the Sky Attack there and then bringing in the Bastiodon. What an interesting swap. Bastiodon is not a Pokemon that tends to swap into a fighter, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I suppose wanting to keep the Altaria around to try and get a charge move onto the Trevenant. I don't know, this is a strange turn of events, but he's going to get this Bulldoze off. No chance. Oh my gosh, we're getting a shield as well. Why is he protecting this Bastiodon? I'm not too sure. But either way, we're going to see this charge move come through. Vigoroth is actually going to be in a bit of trouble here because it is on relatively low health. But with that shield there, Vigoroth is going to be able to get to another Bulldoze before Bastiodon has the chance to get to another charge move. We're going to overfarm here and throw the Body Slam, hoping that this might just be enough and maybe keep a little bit of energy, or just leave a really tiny amount of health on that Bastiodon so that it can be farmed by the next Pokemon. Yeah, okay, he's going to take that Bastiodon down. We'll see what ends up coming in here. I'm not sure if we have quite enough energy to throw the Body Slam. We're actually going to go for an instant swap into Trevenant, hoping to keep this Body Slam sort of ready for later. And you can see that it's actually the Lickitung in the back. This is not what Rick Flareon wants to see, because Shadow Ball does nothing. Has to go for the Seed Bombs, and the Seed Bombs are not going to come out quick enough for the amount of lick damage that is coming off the Lickitung with how little health that Trevenant has left, which is really unfortunate. Like, Body Slam isn't going to do much either, but you don't need to when you've got all of that lick damage that's coming through for sure. But actually, it did go to, yeah, Power Whip, a couple more licks, down it goes, and then that 1 HP on the Vigoroth. Maybe Dank Broad forgets that there's a battle going on and stops tapping, but no, there's a lick, and that is GG's Rick Flareon going down in that first battle there. So Dank Broad is up 1-0. Now, the problem there was that Dank Broad hit the record button on his own phone, and I forgot to not warn people not to do that. So I'll just give him a tag at Dank Broad. I forgot to mention, but please don't hit the record button on your phone because it freezes the streaming. Oopsies. My bad. Yeah, I should have mentioned that, but regardless, definitely a tight little battle there. And I think that, I mean, it just really didn't go well in regards to, actually, we saw Dank Broad swap a Bastiodon into a Vigoroth and win? Do my ears perceive me? Do my eyes perceive me? Is this was actually has occurred? That's a wild turn of events for sure. But really, it did come down to the fact that Dank had that Lickitung in the back. If it was, for example, if Dank had brought in a Azumarill, I think Rick Flareon would have been in a really strong position, able to get those Seed Bombs off onto something that actually wouldn't want to see it. Maybe even a Metacham, try and get a Shadow Ball through, plus the Shadow Claws. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's just unfortunate for Rick Flareon for sure. And knowing, or sort of thinking about what might be in the back for your opponent is definitely a very important part of this game. And now it actually makes sense why Dank Broad are swapped in to the Bastiodon, because he recognized how important the Lickitung was going to be for the Trevenant in the back. And so kept it really healthy for that. Now we're seeing the Trevenant actually come into the Azumarill here. So in a little bit of a better position, the Seed Bombs are going to do a nice chunk of damage. So we see an instant swap into the Altaria. Now, this is a spot where we saw Rick Flareon in a position similar to this way earlier in this tournament. And presumably, we're going to see the exact same thing play out, where Rick Flareon throws the Shadow Ball, gets a little bit of chip damage onto this Altaria, and then swaps out into this Defense Deoxys, who does have access to those Rock Slides that can put a little bit more pressure onto this Altaria. Now, as we saw before, Altaria is not going to take any sizable amount of health off of this Deoxys with the Sky Attack. Deoxys is going to be able to get to this Rock Slide very shortly here. That is really going to put the decision ball into Dank Broad's court, whether he wants to keep this Altaria healthy again. Maybe he's going to try and do something similar in trying to get that Lickitung onto the Trevenant. Does actually let that come through. So we are actually in a very similar spot to the previous game, where Deoxys has to shield here, is going to go up for the Rock Slide, and then it's going to be up to Dank Broad whether he wants to keep this Altaria alive or wants to burn a shield and just Dragon Breath all the way through this Deoxys, all the way home, you could say. Now, this Rock Slide is going to take the Altaria out if there's no shield, so we'll see if one does come up here. There is no shield, so we're going to let that go and then bring in the Azumarill to get a little bit of farm. Now, this is probably an assumption that this Deoxys is running Rock Slide Psycho Boost, sorry. Who would run Rock Slide Thunderbolt? Only Rick Flareon so far in this tournament, and this is going to hurt that Azumarill, and I don't think that Dank sees it coming. And youch, that does definitely hurt. It stings a little, but not the end of the world. Is going to be able to bring in either Pokemon here, to be honest, but decides to bring in the Trevenant to try and get that big Seed Bomb off, but has to be really worried about an Ice Beam here. And with the ability to T... Oh my gosh, went for the Play Rough? Is this a Play Rough Hydro Pump Azumarill, or is this some sort of big prank that is like playing the long game for game 3 and it does have Ice Beam? And I don't know, but we're seeing the Vigoroth in a much better position this time up against the Lickitung, as opposed to having that Trevenant stuck in there. So Lickitung is going to lose health relatively quickly, but also going to be able to dish out the pain similarly, in sort of similar speed. Both of them just throwing Body Slam back and forth, back and forth. The only difference being Lickitung's licks are resisted, whereas the counters coming off of that Vigoroth are doing super effective damage to that normal type Lickitung. Do see another Body Slam come through here, so we'll see whether... I mean, it's going to bring it down into the yellow. At this point, you could, if you're Rick Flareon, you've still got a shield to burn. So I think you kind of want to try and get a charge move off to put... I mean, you might want to go for the back-to-back even potentially to just try and get this shield off of Dankbrode. But I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the Lickitung go down here. Down it goes, and then in comes that Azumarill again. Going to get a Body Slam to the face here. I don't know if it's necessary to burn a shield here because a Body Slam isn't going to do as much damage as a Seed Bomb from Trevenant is later. So going to keep that shield for the Trevenant, which is definitely a very smart move from Dankbrode. Going to go for the Seed Bomb now. Almost certainly going to get shielded up, and then it's going to be a little bit of a race to the charge move where that Trevenant can get to a Seed Bomb before Azumarill can get to potentially not even an Ice Beam. Potentially it is a Play Rough Hydro Pump Azumarill, and so it may just be a Play Rough here. And it is that, so it must be Play Rough Hydro Pump, but Play Rough is going to be enough to take the Trevenant out there. It's now up to Vigoroth to get to a Body Slam, and I think it may be able to get there. One more counter, here's the Body Slam, and this will be enough to take out the Azumarill, and going to keep Rick Flareon in the game and put us at a 1-1 in what Bambox referred to as the Elimination Bracket Finals. Really keeping it nice and tight here. Fade that off the screen because I'm assuming that we're going to see the exact same thing come out where it exits back out to the map and then they have to re-invite each other. But this is definitely going neck and neck there. Yeah, Belozlin coming in. Basti was probably the damage sponge for sure. Yeah, as Zero. Just didn't really had play, so sort of used it up and then really just lucked out in having that Lickitung being able to land up against that Trevenant in that game 1. Now, in this second game, definitely Rick Flareon having access to that Thunderbolt on the Azumarill may have actually been somewhat of a deciding factor. Like, it may have sort of given him the opportunity to just have enough health that the Body Slam from the Vigoroth at the end there was enough to KO. If he didn't have the Thunderbolt, it may have gone a different way, which is, you know, sometimes that's just sort of crazy to think about. It looks like Dankbrode has reshared his screen, so we will get his perspective going into this next battle, which is fantastic. Again, taking the full blame for that one. That's on me. I should have reminded people at the start of this stream. But regardless, one battle is going to separate one of these battlers from the grand finals of the tournament. So we'll see what bonds they decide to bring in here. I wouldn't be too surprised if we sort of see a Alolan Ninetales potentially come out, but it might be a little bit of a risky one. Look, I think it's a bit high risk, high reward in that you could land on that Altaria, you could land on the Medicham, you could do big damage to the sort of neutral mons that we're seeing Dankbrode use, like the Lickitung, like the Azumarill. It really just is that Bastiodon that you're like deathly afraid of, and I suppose the Kanto Shadow Ninetales as well. Speaking of, I think that the Shadow Beedrill on Ric Flareon's side is pretty much just a complete no-go. Like, there's not much reason for you to bring that one in at all, which does limit his options a little bit. Look, we've seen Ric Flareon sort of come back this strategy again and again and again, and I would not be too surprised if we see the double counter user sort of strategy keep on coming back, especially as we go into this game 3, and it looks like we are locked in, so we'll see what these battlers did decide to bring in here. We'll see whether Ric Flair has decided to go for an ABA double fighter or a ABB. Looks like we actually, oh my gosh, we've brought the Shadow Kanto Ninetales and the Shadow Beedrill. I was not expecting Beedrill to come out, but I don't think Beedrill was hoping to see Ninetales there either. Now we've got a swap into Deoxys, and we've got Dank Brood with a mirror swap into the Lickitung. This is actually an interesting spot because both Pokemon are doing super effective damage to each other. The Rock Slides aren't doing much, the Body Slams aren't doing much, but the counters are adding up. The Lick damage is actually adding up alongside these Body Slams that do come out relatively quickly. It really does help to add up, and it sort of puts you in a little bit of a spot where a little bit of energy can actually swing the tide of the matchup. A little bit of a different shield usage can definitely swing the tide of the matchup. Lickitung outpaces a little bit. It definitely puts a bit more pressure onto the Deoxys, but I'm not sure if that was a CMP tie or if Dank Brood was just sort of happy to let this come through. Oh, Ric Flareon going for the undercharge, wanting to try and get a little bit of farm on this Lickitung. Really nice play. And actually letting Deoxys go. Wants to bring in something else to get a little bit of farm. I'm not sure whether that is going to be... we may see the Beedrill come out because, I mean, Beedrill with energy does have access to Drill Run, and Drill Run could definitely hurt Dank Brood there. Looks like I've lost Dank Broads again. I'm not sure what's going on here, but we are seeing the Shadow Ninetales coming in. Going to go for, I think, was this a Fell Sting or an X-Scissor? I'm not too sure. Neither of them will do much damage. It is just an X-Scissor. Not going to do a ton of damage to Ninetales, but gets the shield, and that is key. Brings in the Vigoroth. Vigoroth is going to be able to take any move that this Ninetales throws, but some of them do more than others. You may be able to, that could be a surprise to some of you, but some moves do different amounts of damage to others. Now, we have the Altaria coming in from Dank Broad's side, and we've got almost 2 Body Slams stored up, back to back, ready to throw at this Altaria. Here comes Body Slam number 1, and into the Altaria it goes, and one more counter. Here comes Body Slam number 2, but first, we are going to see this Sky Attack coming in from the Altaria. Vigoroth deciding to burn the shield, wanting to keep Vigoroth around, values the quick Body Slam spam, and doesn't want to put that Beedrill up against that lineup of Altaria and Ninetales. It is really up to Vigoroth to get a little bit of a carry here, and then maybe there's an opportunity to sacrifice Beedrill at the altar in some sort of variety here. His switch timer is coming up. Throwing this Body Slam, this will allow the switch timer to get to the point that Beedrill can come back in. So it is, I think, going to be a case that Ric Flareon is going to try for a catch here. It's just a matter of when. Dragon Breaths are not an easy move to catch and are very easy to just go a little bit over, a little bit under. Unfortunately, it does not get any sort of catch in there. We're just going to let Vigoroth go. Could have gone for a Body Slam. Actually, we might be seeing an attempt at farming energy off of the Altaria. Unfortunately, not going to happen. We need to get to a Drill Run to take this Ninetales out, and we are not going to see it happen. Ninetales is going to take out the Beedrill, and that is going to be GG's. Dank Brood, officially the one that is going to be going ahead against Triple Crit in the grand finals. GG's to Ric Flareon, though. Definitely made it really close. Was able to take that second game as well after pushing the momentum back. Dank Brood was just able to make it swivel the other way, with both players really making a bit of a strong play with bringing out some sort of different unexpected Pokemon in the Shadow Beedrill and the Shadow Ninetales, both coming out in the lead. I mean, literally just before the battle started, I had mentioned that I don't think Shadow Beedrill has much play here. I'm not sure what, maybe they were going for like a specific play, like maybe they thought Bastiodon might come out and try and get a Drill Run. I'm not too sure personally, but either way, Dank Brood is going to be progressing on to the next round. See if we can make some predictions as to where the bands are going to land. Now, again, it's been a while since we've seen Triple Crit in the hot seat. Maybe Dank Brood has been like, he's got nice and warmed up after sort of coming through round after round, whereas Triple Crit has maybe had time to relax, zen out, refigure out where everything is up to. But there'll only be one way to... Okay, we actually have the bans here. Dank Brood has banned Drapion and Trevenant, and Triple Crit has banned Nidoqueen and Bastiodon. So that is... Oh no, that's the bans that I accidentally had at the start of the previous round. So Nidoqueen and Bastiodon have been banned. I guess we didn't really get the time to speculate, but that's okay. That's okay. And then the bans on the other side were Drapion and Trevenant. So Trevenant gone, Drapion gone, and yeah, there we go. So these are the teams that we have finally here in the finals. Now these can change over if there is a bracket reset. So if Dank Bro does win, they can then sort of reassess, remake bans, depending on how this sort of last set went. So Dank Bro's team of 6 is Sableye, Lickitung, Azumarill, Shadow Ninetales, Medicham, and Altaria, while Triple Crit has Shadow Swampert, Lickitung, Alola Ninetales, Medicham, Bastiodon, and Altaria. So relatively similar teams. Again, this sort of goes back to our discussion that feels like it was 4 hours ago, talking about the fact that teams sort of get built in similar fashions in this particular meta, and we can see that there are a lot of similar picks here, but they're sort of banned a little bit different. So while Triple Crit has access to the Bastiodon, Dank Bro does not. And then we've both got the Altarias, we've both got the Medichams, we've both got the Lickitungs. And then instead of, I guess they've both also banned the poison type user. So Nidoqueen's been banned on one side and Drapion has been banned on the other. Now, looking at what's left, I feel like Ninetales is a little bit of a risky bring. And I mean Kanto Ninetales here. I guess it was a little bit risky in the last one and it worked out really well in a game 3, tide shifter from Dank Bro. But there's kind of only one thing that it's targeting, and it's Alola Ninetales. But with that in mind, Alola Ninetales is sort of unchecked a little bit against Dank Bro's lineup. I mean, a Charm Alola Ninetales, destruction of Sableye, destruction of Medicham, destruction of Altaria. There is a reason, a strategic reason, that Triple Crit has banned both a Shadow Nidoqueen and Bastiodon, and it is to protect the Alola Ninetales. I think Dank Bro, maybe kicking himself for not banning the Alola Ninetales. Maybe he was trying to go, thinking that the bans wouldn't go that way. Maybe he was predicting something else, or maybe this is all part of his plan. First battle, Dank Bro versus Triple Crit. Dank Bro fighting for the glory, Triple Crit just trying to defend the honor, essentially. Now we have straight away Altaria into Alola Ninetales. This is awful for Dank Bro. He pretty much has to get out of there straight away. It goes into the Azumarill. We can actually see, oh my gosh, look at Dank Bro's back line. Is that Altaria Medicham? That is a nightmare to have against an Alola Ninetales. And Dank Bro is just counting his lucky stars that Triple Crit has left this Alola Ninetales in the lead matchup this long. And lets the play rough come through. This is a dream, this is as good as could possibly go for Dank Bro, having his team be in the position that he is in. Going for the Psyshock here. Dank Bro almost has to shield just based on his back line being so incredibly weak to Charm. Goes for another Play Rough. We can see that again he is running the Play Rough Hydro Pump moveset. There's not really too much for Ice Beam to target on Triple Crit's team except for that Altaria. Gets a shield out of that Alola Ninetales finally, but I'm not sure if this Azumarill is going to be able to get to another Play Rough before. Actually, we're going to see a charge move coming in and just going to let it go. At this point, probably for the best, and I think you probably, you can go either way, bringing in Medicham or Altaria. Medicham's probably going to bring it down faster and just try and get this Ninetales out of here, and is now going to have a little bit of a smoother time now that just Alola Ninetales has been removed. And look at Triple Crit's backline. It is Lickitung and Bastiodon, two Pokemon that are weak to Medicham. What is this game? This is sort of a case where Lickitung can do a lot of damage back to Medicham though, and because Triple Crit has left the Bastiodon in the back, that matches up really well up against that Altaria that was seen in the lead from Dank Bro. So Dank Bro could be in a little bit of trouble, but Triple Crit is really going to need to do his best to get this Medicham off the game. As soon as this Medicham is gone, Bastiodon is just going to have a field day and sort of guarantee win this battle. But we can also see that Dank Bro has decided to bring in the Power Up Punch moveset, which makes it so much more deadly when you're up against these Lickitungs, up against these Bastiodons, because you can just not only get some fighting type charge move damage, but also increase the damage that you're putting on with the fighting type counter. Now, here comes that Body Slam and still going to get a couple more counters through. Medicham almost down here, and now Bastiodon is basically in the clear. Bastiodon is going to have to take one counter, and then it is just going to be smackdown all the way down. Here comes Basti. Medicham counter confirmed. Down it goes, and here comes Altaria. Dank Bro is now just sitting crying at his phone, going, why? Because this is not where you want to be at all. Going for the Moonblast, but that Moonblast is just not going to shift the tide at all. Stone Edge going through now, and we get now. Cover your eyes right now, because this is definitely the end for this Altaria. It is not going to be able to win this matchup. Yeah, Dank Bro just stops tapping entirely. Knows what's up here, and this is GG's. Triple Crit taking the first game, and now Triple Crit is only one game away from being the inaugural Australis Shield champion. Dank Broad needs to win the next 2 in a row and then needs to win 2 out of the following 3. So definitely has an uphill battle. Triple Crit may just have an opportunity to fight through this entire thing undefeated. We'll see if he can in the teams. This could be the very final battle for Triple Crit. Dank Broad really needs to just absolutely demolish 2 games in a row to come back from it and gets a fantastic lead with the Azumarill into the Metacham. This is not a bad spot for this Azumarill at all. You can see that Altaria has been ditched this time on Dank Broad's side and has only brought the one Pokemon, the Metacham. That is really weak to that Alolan Ninetales, and hoping to get the Kanto Ninetales onto that Ninetales. So it is going to be really important for Dank Broad in this matchup to keep switch advantage. He's the swap out into Lickitung, so going to swap into the Metacham. This is brilliant for Dank Broad because Dank Broad is going to be able to put on as much pressure as he wants. They're sort of going to lose health at sort of the same-ish rate, both the Lickitung and the Metacham, and then Ninetales is going to come in, farm down whatever's remaining on the Metacham, if Metacham is the sort of last one standing, and then Kanto Ninetales is going to be able to come in and just clean up and bring the win back for Dank Broad. So we'll see if that is how it does play out here. The Body Slam landing on the Metacham. Metacham going to throw another Power Up Punch. Just power up, power up, power up, power up. More damage, more damage, more damage. It is important for Dank Broad to win this matchup, though, to make sure that it goes the way that he wants, though. So we'll need to shield this next Body Slam, and then we'll be able to count it down. Yep, so we're going to count it down, and then Alolan Ninetales is likely to come in here, get a little bit of farm, and then we're going to see Triple Crit's Nightmare in the Kanto Ninetales coming out to meet it. So unless we see something incredibly surprising and we see a Metacham come out, which is possible, it is the Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales gets one charm in, actually gets a Power Punch just for good measure, just to bring this Ninetales down a little bit more. Every little bit of damage helps. And now here comes the Kanto Ninetales. Triple Crit was not expecting this to be around. Swap into Metacham. So here's the swap into Azu. Azu's got some energy ready to go. So here comes the play rough. There are still 2 shields on Triple Crit's side. So this is definitely not over. This Metacham is going to be able to do a lot of damage with the Psychics if it can land it. It's going to be a little bit of a bait game to try and make this matchup go the way that each of them want. Dank Broad is just going to have to make a call. Is this charge move that's about to come his way Ice Beam? Or is it Psychic? And going for the Ice Punch, Dank Broad needs to not shield here. It could be in some serious trouble. Calls the Ice Punch. What a call. That is absolutely brilliant. So good for Dank Broad. Is now going to be able to get up to the play rough. Throw it again. Oh, he's going to have to burn a shield here, though, even though it is the Psychic. Ice Punch may have been enough here, but regardless, going to see the shield come up from Dank Broad. And then get to this player to take the Metacham out. And then it is going to be down again to the Kanto Ninetales versus the Alolan Ninetales. Such a good spot for Dank Broad to be in. And getting that switch advantage at every turn has been so incredibly important. 1 Fire Spin, 2 Fire Spin, and here is the Weather Ball. This Weather Ball is going to seal the deal. Ninetales from Kanto region saying, hey, I'm the original. You came like 6 generations of Pokemon later on. I know these battlegrounds, and takes down the Ninetales. And Dank Broad now evening up the first set here 1-1. Triple Crit, still, if he wins the next battle, he will be crowned the champion. Whereas if Dank Broad wins the next one, it will reset the bracket and it will go into a brand new set of 3 that we can do a new set of bans on. And I'm saying I will not be surprised if we see Alolan Ninetales get banned. So this may be Triple Crit's last opportunity to try and get the big Alolan Ninetales win. Try and get that sort of big farm on through a Metacham, through an Altaria, through even a Lickitung or a Sableye. Let's be honest, we're not going to see Sableye come out here. Like, as much as it's a good counter to Metacham, Azumarill did a just fine of a job in that last one, even though it did actually come down to a bait decision. So it was just a really brave call from Dank Broad to not shield the Ice Punch, because if that was a Psychic, that game may have gone in a slightly different way. It may have still been quite similar, because Kanto Ninetales probably could have finished off the rest of the Metacham and then taken out the Alolan Ninetales. So thinking about it a little bit more, maybe it wasn't like the sort of, like 50-50. It could have been anyone's win, but there was definitely more of an opportunity The triple crit was really trying to claw back by going for that ice punch bait that unfortunately for him, Dank Bro, let's get into this third battle of the very first set and see if this is going to be the last battle of the Australis Shield season. Now, we've got Azumarill from Dank Bro into the Lickitung from Triple Crit, and you can see that we have actually completely ditched the Alolan Ninetales from Triple Crit side. He's left it on the bench. Hopefully, we'll see how this goes. And actually, Triple Crit has brought in the Swampert to hard counter that Ninetales. This is going to be an interesting one. We'll see how this goes. Triple Crit going for the Power Whip to do that big damage to Azumarill, and it does not get shielded. Getting up to the Hydro Pump and then swapping into the Medicham, trying to force some sort of a swap from Triple Crit, and we do see the Altaria come in. Now, I'm not sure if Medicham has revealed this Ice Punch yet. I don't think it has. From Dank Bro, and this is not going to be awesome for Triple Crit. Maybe was hoping that it was a Power Up Punch Psychic Medicham, but not the case, and is going to have to try and take this Medicham out ASAP. Farms up counts the moves correctly just before the Medicham gets the charge move, is able to throw this Sky Attack, getting this shield out of Dank Bro. And now Dank Bro, having this Ice Punch, is actually going to go for a Power Up Punch bait. We'll see if Triple Crit decides to shield here, because it could be a big decision. Does shield. What an unfortunate call. What a bait from Dank Bro. Dank Bro now going to be able to get to another Ice Punch before Altaria can get to a Sky Attack, and is now Power Up Punch boosted. This could be a little deadly for whatever Triple Crit brings in the back. Has the Swampert and the Lickitung. I'm not sure if there's really like a best Pokemon to bring in here, because both of them are going to take quite a lot of damage from the Medicham, but I think that Triple Crit might want to keep that Swampert a little bit of surprise. Keep it sort of, hidden away. Don't want to reveal anything too early. Don't want the Ninetales to realize how in danger it is, and then have Dank Bro forcing the Ninetales onto the Lickitung. Actually, we are seeing Lickitung come out, and here comes the Swampert, but we see the swap into the Azumarill. A little bit unfortunate for Triple Crit. Would have really loved to have the Swampert up against that Ninetales, but maybe can get through this wall of an Azumarill to get there in the end. We can see does have Sludge Wave, so if he can land a Sludge Wave here, that will be absolutely massive, taking out this Azumarill. Here comes another player off though, and Triple Crit definitely recognizing the significance of the Swampert here. Now, this could be a make or break decision about whether Dank Bro decides to shield or not. Going straight for the Sludge Wave is Dank Bro. Dank Bro is not going to shield. This is going to take out the Azumarill, and it does mean that we are going to have to see this Ninetales come out here. There is still one shield, so I think Ninetales is actually going to be able to take this Swampert out, not before having to shield up this Hydro Cannon. Maybe able to fast move down the Swampert and have the energy to go into the Lickitung that's in the back. And wow, able to, oh my, this is just a game of strange counters here. And now going for the overheat, gets to the overheat. This is going to do an absolute ton of damage with same type attack bonus from the Ninetales onto the Lickitung. And look at its health. It's got a little bit of yellow, and now it is just gone. And Dank Bro able to take it out and secure the bracket reset, which means the bands are getting reset. It is time for a brand new set. Both of these battlers have now lost once. They've lost a single set, which means that it's anyone's game now. Whoever wins 2 out of the next 3 is going to be the inaugural champion. And we'll see how this does go. They do have another 5 minutes to prepare to sort of think about what bands they might want. Again, it's sort of like weird how that Alolan Ninetales in that game was sort of the defining mon of that set. In the first game, it was just so dominant. It looked so good on Triple Crit's team of 6 versus Dank Bro's team of 6. And then, first game, it didn't do a whole lot. The second game, it did a lot more. But still, I did get taken down by the Ninetales. And then in the third game, Triple Crit decided to not even bring the Alolan Ninetales, brought the Swampert instead, still expecting the Kanto Ninetales to come in so that Swampert would have something to hard counter. Unfortunately for Triple Crit, I think that even if Dank Bro actually just did do the swap the other way, left the Swampert left the Ninetales in the back, where it would have met a Swampert in a more immediate sense, that could have been GG's, and that could have been the end of the Australis Shield Championship. So, this is definitely a tight set here. He's banned the exact same Pokemon, I believe. I believe Nidoqueen and Basculin is being banned again. So maybe trying to protect the Alolan Ninetales, but I'm not sure. I guess triple crit was maybe assuming that Along the Ninetales was not going to be banned. I mean, no, actually, I didn't think it was going to get banned. I just forgot. But maybe, what does that sort of set up for triple crit? Does that give him any other benefit? I mean, I guess Altaria is a bit better. Trevenant's a bit safer. I don't know. I guess we'll. He's locked in, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to ding, 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 ding. Whoop, 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 whoop. Grand finals time. All right. We've got Trevenant coming in on triple crit side against the Azumarill. Not a terrible spot for either, unless Dankbrode's Azumarill is still running player of that might have been an Ice Beam. I'm not too sure. May have not been. So we've seen a swap into the Lickitung on Dankbrode side and a swap into Medicham on triple crit side. Again, we've seen this matchup play out. Both Pokemon are going to be just chipping damage off each other. Then their health will just slowly whittle down. Medicham is mostly coming from that counter damage. Lickitung is coming from a mixture of the lick damage and the neutral body slam damage. This Medicham is not running Power Up Punch though, so it doesn't have the opportunity to boost up those counters, which does put it at a little bit of an advantage, especially when something like Dankbrode comes in and burns that shield on the Psychic, putting him in a really strong position. Going for the Body Slam here just to bring it down that Medicham a little bit more, getting the shield out of triple crit here, recognizing that this Medicham is sort of important in not having the Power Up Punch, and so sort of needs a little bit more assistance, I guess you could say, in trying to win this matchup out. No shield from Dankbrode's Lickitung, and has the Body Slam ready to go on the brink of fainting, and this will be enough to take out the Medicham if it does go unshielded. Triple crit needs to decide whether they want switch advantage, and they do. Burns their second and final shield so that they can get that last counter through to take it down. You can see that we've got Trevenant and Lickitung in the back for triple crit, and so this Azumarill coming in. Not going to take too much damage from this Medicham. We do actually see a Psychic coming through, which is going to hurt a little bit. It's going to bring it down about a third, a little bit more health. Maybe about a third. And then down goes the Medicham. At this point, we're going to see the Trevenant come back in, try and get some Seed Bombs off on this Azumarill. We are seeing that Dankbrode has indeed swapped his Azumarill over to Ice Beam, and now that there are no more shields on triple crit side, this is not a bad spot to be in at all. We see the swap into Altaria. Triple crit is going to get one Shadow Ball off from Trevenant onto the Altaria, but getting the last shield out of Dankbrode is now going to be able to Dragon Breath down the rest of the Trevenant if we don't see a swap out, which we actually do instead. Altaria versus the Lickitung. Altaria is just going to be throwing these Dragon Breaths, throwing these Sky Attacks, trying to bring this Lickitung down as soon as possible. So much bulk packed into that one Pokemon, but of course, we do still have that little bit of an Azumarill hanging out in the back as well that is going to be, could come in handy in the back part of this battle, depending on where that Trevenant does end up coming in. I think that Trevenant did burn most of his energy on that Shadow Ball, but we're going to see the Sky Attack coming in here. Unfortunately, I think that was a CMP tie with the Body Slam coming in from the Lickitung. It's not going to KO, but Altaria will get brought down into the red. Actually, it was not a CMP tie, so now going to get the Sky Attack off. No more shields are in play, so this is going to bring the Lickitung down. I don't think it's going to KO. Not quite. Going to need a couple more Dragon Breaths, but we'll be able to do that before another Body Slam comes through. I guess that weakened down the Altaria a little bit more, and is now going to be able to Dragon Breath down the Trevenant and take out the first game for Dankbrode. Dankbrode on a little bit of a tear here. Triple crit is in triple critical condition, because now Dankbrode is only one game away from becoming the inaugural Australis Shield champion. Only one game away. Whereas now Triple Crit, who was in the advantage, was the winner of the winners bracket, had to have a bracket reset against him by Dankbrode. Had an incredibly oppressive Alolan Ninetales that performed so strongly up against Dankbrode's team that was using Altaria and Medicham, with Sableye still in tow as well. I mean, Dankbrode is really sort of showing what he can do against Triple Crit, who really is doing his best. Troy can join if you want. Look, actually, I don't think we've got one team locked in. We could potentially jump into the Discord called Trotter, but I won't be able to get your video in. I'll have to unmute Discord. Undeafen. So if you want to jump into the Discord, Trotter, it's all for you. Actually, I should probably Oh, hello. Oh, I'm muted. Hello, Trotter. Not too bad. Now, did you want me to share my screen with you, or did you want to just watch from your own perspective? Yeah. All right. Sounds good. So, for those who were just oh, I can't hear Dr. Trotter. I need to. Oh, I found the problem. Okay, now they should be able to hear Dr. Trotter. Please confirm,
Yeah.
chat.
Please confirm, chat. Please confirm.
It looks good. And Triple Crit is still ages away from locking in his team. At least another 10 minutes. So we've got time. Okay, yes, Bamble has confirmed. We can hear Trotter.
All right, fantastic.
Apologies for, stopping everyone from hearing that good 44 seconds of Dr. Trotter. That's on me.
I know it's an interesting lineup here, I find. So just on paper, Triple Crit's Altaria looks really, really good. But do you feel like Dank Bro's going to negate that by running Azu and its own Altaria? And so it kind of by playing Altaria, you lend yourself to this sort of pseudo RPS kind of scenario, where you have to land the Altaria not on the Azu and preferably not on the opposing Altaria, unless you're in like some sort of farm down scenario. So it's just unusual.
Yeah, I mean, previously, Azuma was not in as strong a position against Altaria because it didn't have Ice Beam, and Dank Broad has basically been running Play Rough, Hydro Pump the entire tournament. Sorry, and I think that it was sort of a little bit slower, and now now that he's in the first set before the bracket reset, Trevenant was banned. And so now that Trevenant's been unbanned, he's sort of made the swap over to an Ice Beam Azumarill to sort of try and be that Pokemon that can counter both Trevenant and Altaria. And I think that the thing that maybe has scared Dank Broad off of a lot of his Altaria action was the fact that Bastiodon has appeared before up against Dank Broad and definitely, let's say, finished the game in an anticlimactic fashion.
What I love watching SmackDown KO. Like I'm all for Bastiodon.
Oh, it looks like we are going in. So try to sing as you've just arrived. You can take it
All
away.
right. Oh my goodness, this is an absolute perfect matchup here for Triple Crit. Landing that Trevenant onto that Azumarill and an instant swap from Dankbroad into the Lickitung.
Okay,
And a counter swap.
Oh, okay. Altaria is coming in from Triple Crit, as talked about before, and now it is just going to be a bit of a case of neutral damage versus neutral damage. Lickitung throwing the body slams, Altaria just doing the Dragon Breaths and Sky Attacks.
Well, I mean, there's always the option for a Moonblast to get that attack debuff, Steve. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone should ever try and land put all of their eggs in the hoping for a Moonblast debuff basket. But hey, there's always the opportunity. I don't think we've seen it once in this tournament, but you never know. We do get that body slam coming in from the Lickitung though, just to bring the Altaria down a little bit, and actually does get a shield.
Yeah, I really like that shield because if you can look at Dankbroad's team, you'll see there that their entire backline is weak to the Trevenant. And there, lets it go. So keeps that shield advantage. And out comes the Azu straight away. And Crit is absolutely letting this Azu farm up a bit of energy. Oh, no, he is throwing the Sky Attack. And no shield here. Now, this is the question. Do you stay in and just get as much energy as possible? Or how does Dankbroad want to play this? And he is getting an absolute ton of energy here.
Yeah, wants to stock up so they can get to an Ice Beam as soon as possible onto whatever comes in, hoping that it may be that Trevenant.
Is Crit going to make the call of the Medicham in the back and bring in the Bastiodon to soak up that energy? Is not.
This could be dangerous for Triple Crit. Going for the Ice Beam as well. It does get the final shield out of Triple Crit and does mean that a Seed Bomb is going to be coming relatively fast, but Dankbroad still has both of his shields.
Yeah, both of those shields puts it in a very, very, very strong spot. And the problem is you can't switch to Bastiodon to catch because it doesn't help you. Because then you just get farmed down and then Ice Punch down. I'm assuming by the Medicham having Ice Punch. So this is really oof. And there's the swap, and there's the swap straight away. And this counter swap into Bastiodon is
Oh my gosh.
not. This is.
This is a 2-shield Medicham up against a Bastiodon in the very final battle of the entire year's worth of Australis Shields to crown the inaugural Australis Shield champion. And I think that we're about to crown Dank Broad, Dr. Trotter.
This is a top left. Yeah, you can see triple crit just letting this one go there. There's no honor among. No, well played to Brody.
Yeah, don't speak too loud, Trotter, because I believe that you were also running Bastiodon in this tournament.
Yeah, I was, and it got banned more than I was able to use it.
Well, I mean, you can see that a triple crit actually did ban the Bastiodon from Dank Broad's side, who was also trying to run it. So it's sort of like it was getting banned all around, and the one time that it wasn't banned here, letting triple crit use it, it came out to play. Not where it wanted to be.
I think if triple crit had his time again, definitely would have brought that Bastiodon into the Liquor Tongue. That's actually quite a favorable matchup for Bastiodon. It's a close win, but it's a win. And I believe we are not having a third matchup. Everyone has been around for many hours today. And I think they are happy to call it there.
It's been a big day for everyone.
Certainly has. I know I've got a little bit of a headache.
Oh, you should have. Look, 3 hours in on the first stream, my throat was gone ski. There was no coming back. But now we do have actually. Bamboss has created he has a graphic for us. Where is it? There it is. And now just one simple download, and we'll get the proper official trophy image. Yes, replace. Wow, look at that. It's the Nibennett Trophy.
The Nibennett Trophy. That's a very quiet name. Not very well known amongst any of those outside of Arena Australis.
Yeah, I was talking before that I'm holding on to this 3D printed Australis Shield medal for Gym 2504 that I still haven't given him. It's just so well made, and he does all sorts of things like that all year long. Supporting not only his own local community, but also supporting the Australian community at large. And we definitely owe a debt of gratitude to Nibennett for all he sort of puts in, for sure. Now, the standard, generally here we would bring on the champion for a quick little chat, but I believe that Triple, Triple was certainly requested by his part. Oh wait, maybe we are going in for. Oh yeah, no, Bro can chat. Okay, cool, lovely.
I think Triple's locked in thinking there's a match 3.
Sorry, Triple.
Unfortunately, Triple Crit, there is not a match 3, brother.
So someone go knock on his door. Let him know.
Triple, can we unmute him somehow so he can hear us? No, we can't. No, he's muted on his side.
Dang.
Anyway, I will now shoutcasted one battle. I will love you and leave you and let you interview Dank Brody because I need to be at work a little bit early tomorrow. So it's been a long day. Congratulations on holding the fort, Steve. That's quite a lot of talking. How's your throat?
It is not well. I'm gonna regret this so much tomorrow.
Congratulations, Brody, and I'm gonna head off. So good night, my friend.
Night, Trotter. Thanks for coming on for the one battle.
Yeah, we can hear you, Brody.
Oh, I can't. Oh, heck. Hang on. Let me disconnect and rejoin. Hello. Okay, I can hear you now.
Hello, Steve.
I hope you didn't say anything important because I sure didn't hear it.
I did not. I just said hello there.
Well, I guess we've just got the same effect there. But, bro, you're the first ever Australis Shield champion, and getting the name engraved onto the what will not be known as anything to do with the Tassie Timbers, but
Yeah,
will.
the Tassie Timbers Cup of Excellence. I'm very gracious to win this award. The Nibennett Trophy. No, a very look. This day I was not going into this expecting to do well. I kind of threw together a team that was decent, and it's just meta. So, but yeah, it worked out well for me, I suppose.
Yeah, that's all you need to actually. I'll bring it up on your team up on screen again, so everyone can sort of see it there. What? I'll put it there. There we go. So yeah. So when did this team actually come together? Because I know, like, for most people, it was sort of at the last minute. Thinking about the Continentals meta being a pretty tricky one to sort of have to build for.
Well, so my original team was basically my NQ or Team NQ team for the team tournament that the Arena Australis held. I put that in plus Nether Queen and Licky Tongue. And then I got told I can't do that because I have too many monotypes and too many things that share a type. So I had to change it around a bit, and I just went with stuff that I was comfortable with.
Including Bastidon. I mean, Bastidon is a pretty easy one to get.
All right. Triple wants to play me. I'll play him. I'll finish it off. Let's do it. Leave me on call. Let's do a play-by-play from the dank while we clap trips.
All right, hang on. I can bring it all back on screen.
Okay.
Where's Triple's team there? Boom, boom.
But yeah, it was basically just that. I went through because originally I had Skarmory instead of Altaria as my flyer. I had Umbreon in there instead of Sableye as my dark, and yeah, and I kind of evolved it from that. So I really liked Azumarill because I used that in the team tournament. It's a good water fairy. I don't have any. That thing fucked me. But and I got an XL Azumarill, so it's pretty good. My Bastion is XL as well. I got a shiny, so that's cool. My Medi's lucky, so it wins CMP, and I kind of toyed around with its moveset a little bit. I was running Power Up Punch, Ice Punch for the most part, but then I ran Dynamic Punch against Stumpy in the second time I played him and KO'd his Licky Tongue with a Dynamic Punch, or almost KO'd his Licky Tongue, and it really caught him off guard and helped me flip that match.
Nice.
And then I just kind of played around with the Zoomeral's matchup in that second game against Trip, because I wanted Ice Beam for the Trev, because but I should have had Hydro Pump Ice Beam, but I kept the Play Rough and Medicham, but I really shouldn't have. But it didn't end up falling onto Basti, so it worked out in the end.
Yeah, I think it sort of worked out almost by having the Play Rough. I could be getting my wires crossed here because this is well past my bedtime. But I believe that there was a point where you were throwing Play Rough at Medicham at some point. And
I did. I threw back to back at Medicham for it to get both its shields, and then I was able to take the game back. I think that was game 2.
I guess if you didn't have Play Rough and it was just Ice Beam Hydro, maybe it wouldn't have been as threatening.
That was in the first set of games where I still had Hydro Pump, so I guess if it was locked onto Medicham, maybe, but still I could still threaten. I have the first move be pretend to throw Play Rough and then actually throw Ice Beam and then throw Hydro Pump or something. Do some wacky shenanigans with baiting.
Well, that's actually, I was wondering if you were going for some, super big brain play, because we couldn't see a screen at the start, which, I'll take the blame on that one. But we were like, is he running Ice Beam Play Rough and he's just throwing the Play Rough to sort of throw us off? And then, there's going to be this big Ice Beam reveal on a Trevenant later on. But no,
I didn't realize that me recording the screen would freeze the thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. And for some people, it actually doesn't. I think it depends what recording thing it is. Some of them work, some of them don't. I think DU recorder doesn't work. Some of the Android screen records work. I don't know. I don't
see. I would have liked to have actually record those battles so I could post them myself, but I guess I have to steal them from you, Steve.
Exactly. Well, this is all going to be chopped up and uploaded to the Arena Australis YouTube channel as well. So you can also steal it from there if it's easier to steal from YouTube, which is good as well.
It might be.
But
There's
not that we would ever steal content.
no,
Ever.
never. Even though it's my content.
Yeah, so I'm sort of curious about I guess how you went about throwing your bans around, specifically like going into the triple crit, because we did see the sort of mix up from the bans going in the first set and then the reset set.
So originally I was going to ban Alolan Ninetales, but I was kind of more scared of Trevenant. Because my main plan was to run Lickitung, Medicham, Nidoqueen as my line. But then Bastiodon and Nidoqueen got banned, so it was like, oh fuck. And so I didn't have a good answer for A9. I was really lucky that and in game one I knew he had Basti in the back. I was trying my hardest to keep Medi as healthy as I could, and I was actually about to catch on Azu on not Azu, Medicham, not Altaria, whatever my lead was Pokemon. I think it was Altaria. Onto the Lickitung to catch that move. But then I would have gotten farmed down by it anyway, and then Basti would have thrown Flamethrower and it would have been game over anyway. So that was unfortunate. So then I realized, after I was able to take game 2 and 3 of that first set, I need to ban A9. Keep Drapion as banned because it's really dangerous against everything. It just hits hard. Trevenant's workable, and because I had Ice Punch on Medi and Ice Beam on Azu, well, I would have attempt Ice Beam to Azu to kind of control that in negative matchups, and then Lickitung, I was using that all the time, and it beats all its counters, and it was just like, yeah, it was cool. I had that kind of tossed up. It wasn't as dangerous as I originally made it out to be. So I was very surprised he kept the same bans of Basti and Nidoqueen. I thought for sure he would have changed them.
Yeah,
I think that might have been
now go ahead.
that might have been what cost him in the second set, because I was able to play around that completely.
Yeah, because you'd banned the Alola Ninetales, him banning the Alola Ninetales counters didn't have as much of an effect, especially when both bans were sort of put in that same bucket.
Exactly.
Yeah, but regardless, I mean, Triple Crit definitely did his best and played really well as well. And I mean,
did very well to go through the entire tournament up to that point undefeated. So
yes, no, very much. I'm still sort of that first game with like the the A9 in the lead, and then you just had like the Medicham and Altaria hiding in the back.
Yeah, I know. Well, I led Altaria, and I was like, I have to just Azu say swap, and he didn't swap. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, yes, please just keep staying.
So it was a bit like that, but you know, what can you do?
And then the Bastion was there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of like that's why I changed it up to Medi in the second game to I don't think I had Altaria or something like that in that one. So that way I avoided Bastion.
Yeah. And then brought in the Kanto Ninetales in that game 3 to sort of give it that
that
hard
was
counter.
Well, I did that against Rick as well in the game 3 on his Beedrill, and it helped me win that. So it was such a game changer. And I was so surprised I was able to farm down. I thought he was going to get back-to-back Hydro Cannons on me, so I was lucky enough to farm him down.
Yeah, barely. Like just able to get it.
It was like one turn of difference, so it was very clutch. So, and I was running Ember, not Fire Spin.
Yeah, I'm a moron. I definitely said Fire Spin at least 4 times, but I think Ember's the sort of it's the Cindy way now. It's the new way.
Yeah, like after she kind of made it famous, I was like, oh, I might as well TM one. I have plenty of elite fast TMs, so yeah, that's good.
May as well use them. Well, before we sort of hang up our hats and I take a snooze, is there anything you want to say to your thousands of screaming fans that are out there just chanting your name as the inaugural arena Australis Shield champion?
Well, I guess I'll just shout out the boys in the Tassie Timbers. We're on a tear in APAC Platinum right now. We went, I think, at this point in time, 17-1 in our matchup against Sack in the City, so it's looking quite well.
I did see that tweet. Well, the multiple tweets that have been going around.
Piccolo likes to do that. So, big shout out to those boys. And big shout out to Bamboss for running this thing. it seemed like it was kind of a. Unfortunately, I know a little bit of the organization was a bit of a schmoz, but organizing all these people on one day with a big tournament is a bit hard. So big shout out to him and how well it's actually gone down for the most part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you to yourself, Steve, for shoutcasting.
And that's
us.
all the time we have.
Get some sleep, you idiot.
I'm going to go hit the snooze button as soon as I hit the stop streaming button. So with that said, thanks for coming on, Dank. And again, huge congrats. And I guess we'll wait and see what Boss has in store for us going into the sort of next season of the Australis Shield. I have a feeling that you'll definitely get a lot more competition to face as we sort of progress into the second championship next year.
Well, I'd want to hope so because this competition ain't so stiff.
Oh man, he's shooting
JK,
shots.
JK, JK.
And he's officially been cancelled out of Arena Australis, so no one wants this guy around anymore. And hopefully look forward to seeing you whenever the next Australian regional is as well.
Yes, I'll be there in February in wherever it is. I think in Melbourne. I'll be there.
Once they tell us when the other regionals are, we'll find out.
I'll be there. And I'm going to Japan too, so
that's me too. So let's party on.
we'll party in Japan.
All right, I'm looking forward
Karaoke,
to it. Karaoke is on. All right, take care, Dank.
See you, Steve.